Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Best in the Business. We have a big task to do today. We are talking a 32, I was going to say man bracket, but we're covering matches today. A 32 match bracket where we're going to cover the best WrestleMania main event ever. And I wanted to break it down to 16, but we decided to do all 32 because, hey, why the hell not? Yeah. Why not?
Well, we couldn't have done it last year. We couldn't have done it next year. It would be leaving one out or having one extra. So it's the only time.
So, yeah. So I hope you're ready. This is going to be a long one. Strap in because we got a lot to talk about today. I am Jake, a.k.a. Bomber. I'm joined by Matt Zion, Lee, Scott. Are you guys fucking ready? Because this is going to be a big deal.
Yeah. Fucking Road Warriors.
No, yeah, absolutely. They're not even on this list. How good are they?
They are not on the list.
And we'll just throw out, this is in order. Like, there's no random here. It's 1 versus 2, and we go from there. So it's going to be interesting.
I said, fuck it. Let's go. If we're doing this, we're doing all 32 of them, baby. I went back and I watched WrestleMania 1 through 13, because those are the ones that I was hazy on. Like, I remember all the others just fine. So I did a lot of fucking research.
Motherfucker, don't even start with me.
You did all of them, right?
3 days ago, I shit you not, I went through... And I've watched every single one of these matches over again. Some of them I haven't seen before. Like at the beginning, there's a couple random ones in there throughout. And I watched every fucking match leading up to this thing. So, now, yeah, I missed some sleep.
Yeah, there you go. That's fine. One thing I do like is that having them be in order, they do actually work from their era. Like, you're not comparing something from one versus something from now. We'll get there.
Oh, we will.
But it's a fair way for each era, I think.
All right, are you guys ready? Fuck Daniel Bryan. Let's do this thing. Yes. All right, here we go. All right. Let's start it off right here at the top. Match 1. WrestleMania 1. Hogan and Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff versus WrestleMania 2. Hogan versus King Kong Bundy. Matt Zion, I know you said a comment earlier on our little chat that we have. So how about you start this one off?
Well, I'm voting for WrestleMania 2, even though I think, obviously, 1 had a better crowd reaction overall, and it also is more memorable just because of the fact that it was the first one to have Mr. T and whatnot. More moments, I guess. But I thought the tag match was pretty boring. Like, they didn't really do anything. And when Mr. T was in there, that was actually pretty fun. That's probably the highlight of the whole thing. But, you know, the charisma of the wrestlers back then was so much different than it is now. But the Hogan King Kong Bundy, I thought, told a good story. Just the fact that it was a big dude in the cage, and I liked that Hogan was brutal with Bundy. Like, he started to beat the living fuck out of that guy at the end. I'm just gonna go with that because I thought overall it was more enjoyable to me to watch the cage match.
Sure. Okay. So there we go. I'm gonna go next. The one thing I noticed was I can't believe watching the first WrestleMania again. I can't believe how little they did back then. There's literally like the most devastating move was, well, beside the cast shot, was like a suplex. Yeah. And there was like one of those. There's maybe like a hip toss too in there. There was nothing else. It was all reaction, drama, build up. It was literally nothing. And to me, that's going to actually get the win over WrestleMania 2 because I don't know what the fuck happened with their audio. Their sound for that whole show was like horrible. The guest commentators that they had was fucking horrendous to listen to. Yes. Cancer. It was so like awkward and the arena was just silent and I don't know. I have to pick WrestleMania 1 over this one cuz I was so out of WrestleMania 2. Hogan like destroyed Bundy the entire time. They did a couple spots with his like taped up ribs, but that was about it. And one last thing that I remember was Bundy took incredibly too long to blade. Incredibly too long to blade. Took him like 45 fucking minutes. But yeah, WrestleMania 1 for me definitely was way more entertaining than 2. So that's my pick, WrestleMania 1. Scott, what you got?
We're talking, what, 85 and 86 with this, so it is totally different era.
Oh, yeah.
I never liked WrestleMania 1 much for the main event. I mean, it's the only case where the champ never defended his title. It really should have been Hogan and Piper, so this celebrity thing is what they did, and we're still in that era now. But the Hogan-Bundy isn't remembered as much, but it really is the first Hogan versus a monster. and the whole Heenan stuff, and that really does stand out. I think it is a better match. It's more fun, but the crowd wasn't there. the whole 3 arenas is how they had it with the simulcast. It just didn't work. One was more of a super card that they were still figuring things out. They figured it out with 3, but these 2 were the feeling out process. Hogan Bundy I liked better. He was coming back from the taped up ribs. Will Hogan ever return was the story coming in, and it was Bundy who legit looked like someone who could take him out, and then he Hogan'd it. So I just like that one better. It's more, the match is better. I mean, depending how we're looking at it, the main event, nothing tops Hogan, Mr. T, Piper, Orndorff, but everything does. It's not that great for what we got. The spectacle isn't there for 2, but 2 is better, I think.
All right, so you're picking WrestleMania 2. All right, 2.
Yeah, I know
2
I
for
waffled,
2 then.
Yeah, 2.
All right, Lee, who you got?
I'm going for WrestleMania 1.
Oh my God, fucking coin toss. God damn it.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, I got to
Sure.
say, both of these matches are dog shit. But the first one at least led to something. You've got your whole rock and roll wrestling connection thing going on there that eventually led into. You got Paul Orndorff would eventually team up with Hogan after this and then do his heel turn, which was a big thing for a while. And you have the celebrity aspect to it that was more important. Like, who the fuck remembers Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy? Like, what did it mean in the grand scheme of things? Didn't mean anything. I mean, if the match was, like, really good, then maybe I would swing that way, but both of these were dog shit, and the first one was, slightly less dried up dog shit, I guess, is the way to put it.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
All right, ready for the
let's
flip?
not forget, Bundy Hogan was in a steel cage, the old blue barred cage.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
If that matters.
Yeah, let's get the coin toss
All
here
right,
because it's
Lee?
tie.
Here we go, Lee. Call it.
And the winner is the Hardys.
okay,
God damn.
hits.
It is heads.
All right,
All right.
so that's WrestleMania 1 is going to advance.
1.
And hey, I mean, I think Mr. T did a great job for the fucking. They did a great job hiding the lack of wrestling he had in that match, though.
Considering he was a non-cooperating prick,
Yes.
that Piper had to, like, legit slap around to get him to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Honestly, Matt, I'm fine with 1 taking that one. How about you?
No, I'm pissed. It's like
Bracket,
Road
yeah.
Warriors all over again.
Bracket
Yeah, well,
has been
get
busted.
over it, bro.
Realistically, neither of those are going to be the overall, but we got to
All right, so here we go. We have. I think this is going to be a big one here. Here we go. WrestleMania 3: Hogan versus Andre versus WrestleMania 4: Macho Man versus the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. What? I guess Scott, who you got first?
Well, like I said, 3 is where they figured things out, and that was like the big stage show to really define things. And it's Hogan and Andre. It's not that great, but it's one of those Mania matches where they literally stood there looking at each other, and the crowd was into it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then Hogan shook, and the crowd got more into it.
Yep.
And Andre glared, and it's one of those. It's everything that kind of is a Mania moment. They didn't have to tell you it was. It just was. So I really don't think anything can top that. Crowd, atmosphere, everything. Macho Man and DiBiase is a good, fun match, but it's not as memorable. Like, it was a tournament, it was fun. Macho and the whole thing was great, but I got to go with Hogan and Andre on that one.
Okay, WrestleMania 3. All right, Lee, who you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Hogan Andre on this one. I mean, the match itself is absolute dog shit yet again. I mean, it's just terrible. But historically, it's very important. Ted DiBiase versus Randy Savage, that was a better match, but they had way better matches before then and after then. And this match meant nothing. It was just a sort of a placeholder for let's go to WrestleMania 5. That's basically what it was. So it didn't really mean much. So yeah, Hogan Andre.
All right. Yeah, I'll go real quick. Yeah, I'm also gonna go Hogan Andre. I actually didn't hate the match. The only thing that I that was really weak to me was obviously there was a back body drop on the outside where Hogan exposed the ground.
That's
Holy
legendary.
fuck, that was so bad. So bad. That was so weak. But I remember Hogan was in a bear hug for like 5 minutes, and the crowd was going nuts the entire time. They were doing nothing. Wow.
Yeah.
No, they were doing what they needed to do.
I know. That was crazy just to see what they could do.
It's incredible.
And they would go nuts. But WrestleMania 4, it should have been way better. But for some reason, I think Hogan even overshadowed this match because he came out and everything was about Hogan again instantly.
Oh yeah, this was the start of the nepotism for for Hulkamania. I mean, that eventually led to him to getting kicked out of the whole fucking federation because everyone got fed up with him.
Let's point out,
we'll get there.
Of the first 8 WrestleManias, this is the only main event to not have Hogan in it.
Yeah, and even though he came in and overshadowed,
and he kind of had 9.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
easily WrestleMania 3. And the one last thing I wanted to point out was when DiBiase was coming out of the ring, crowd was absolutely silent. It was pretty sad, but that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, who you got? Even though it doesn't matter.
Three, of course. Just for the the iconicness of it, the moment of him slamming Andre, and I think they did a really good job building up Andre to be a legitimate threat to Hogan more than most of these other guys that they tried to build up as threats. Andre just had like a legitimate, tough monster status even before coming into the Fed. So.
Right.
Just even though it was complete dog shit, that backdrop, oh my god, that was the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Hogan just like slowly slithered off of him, then he hit the apron a little bit, and it slowed his momentum even more, and then he just kind of rolled. And I was like, what the fuck was the point of that spot to begin with? I don't even know where they were going with it. It just, it was terrible. But Macho Man DiBiase, I didn't even think was good. I don't know. I was watching it and. It was overshadowed by Hogan and Andre being out there, but it was also just they just didn't click they weren't doing anything. And I know DiBiase was a really good worker. Obviously Macho Man was, legendary, but it just seemed like it was more story than main event, and it did and like you said, it was placeholder.
It was part 4 of the story of Macho's tournament.
Freaking, as they call it on OSW Review, Cunt Hogan comes out and like I like how Macho wins the match because Hogan helped him win, which is bullshit. It should have just had Macho win. But then they have Macho, like, Hogan gets out of the ring, and it's like, oh, he's getting out of the ring to give Macho his, his time in the sun. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, Hogan just comes right back in and just sits there and he eats up the fucking camera. And this is like the start. This was it, because before this, Hogan wasn't really like that. This was the beginning of Cunt Hogan. Like, this guy... Oh my god, going back and watching these things, I just kept shaking my head going, man, what a piece of shit Hulk Hogan was back in the day. And by the way, I want to throw this out here. I've heard before, I don't know if it's true, the network has the edited versions of these pay-per-views. So, like, they've chimed in more cheers for Hogan. One example was Hogan versus Sid Justice. We'll get to it. But I remember hearing before that when it first aired, Hogan was getting booed out of the building and Justice was getting a lot of cheers. And I've heard that before, that they went back and edited it to make Hogan look like he's super strong, because that fucking matters now. But Hogan Andre easily gets the win. No, there's no debate there.
All right. So there you go.
And one more thing I forgot to say. Mm-hmm. This was the second lowest buy rate they ever did for WrestleMania.
What's 4?
Was 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why they never went back to that tournament thing ever again.
Yeah, and it was a throwaway show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, WrestleMania 3 advances. Let's go down to the next one. WrestleMania 5, Macho Man versus Hulk Hogan versus WrestleMania 6, Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. Let's go with Lee. Let's start.
Okay, this is one of the harder ones. There's a lot of historical significance between these two matches. You look at Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, that is probably one of the top 5 storylines ever done in the WWF. I mean, that was a year-long build that was just built off a single glance at the beginning when the Mega Powers formed and all that shit. Just this little hint that Randy Savage was on to Hulk Hogan, jealous of him. And then you lead up to that awesome fucking heel turn that Randy Savage did on him, where it's, "You got jealous eyes, brother. You got jealous eyes for Miss Elizabeth." And so, yeah, this is a great fucking match. Randy Savage fucking totally carried him, but at the same time, Hulk Hogan actually did carry his half of the match really well as well. Like, this was actually, as much as Hogan's becoming a major scene-stealing prick in these next few WrestleManias, he had a string of really good matches too in these few. You look at Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. Hogan actually had to carry the Warrior to a good match, and he actually did. But after that, it sort of went downhill. But I have to go with Randy Savage versus Hulk Hogan just because I like Randy Savage more. Fuck the Ultimate Warrior. And, I mean, the Ultimate Warrior was a major prick, but at the same time, Hulk Hogan did him no favors because Hulk Hogan mugged the fucking spotlight. He was supposed to drop the title and go away for a while, but he did not go away. He stayed, and he kind of killed the Ultimate Warrior's momentum. So you can see where an egomaniac like the Ultimate Warrior would have got fed up and left because, well, fuck, they promised me everything and they gave me nothing. So, yeah, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan.
All right, there's one for WrestleMania 5. Matt Zion.
Yeah, Macho Man Hogan is the better match. I think Hogan and Warrior had a bigger reaction, and I think it probably, it could have meant more if Hogan wasn't such a fucking pile of garbage. God, man, even when like Warrior won, like Hogan had to come in and like show how humble he was when he was like he had to hand the title over to Warrior. He couldn't just fucking walk away and let the dude have his spotlight. No, he had to show he's such a good dude, brother. Macho Man and Hogan, though, was actually a really good match. Like, it was actually a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed, even though I remember a lot of people thinking that Hogan should have been the one that was the heel in the situation, because, like, when you see what was happening, Hogan was obviously trying to sleep with his Macho Man's wife. Like, it was blatant that he was trying to steal the girl away. But Macho Man, like, the story with Elizabeth being out there, I really enjoyed. I liked how he was like smacking her around a little bit, which made him look like just a total douche. It's almost like he was consumed by how much of a douche Hulk Hogan was, and that's the only reason he turned heel. He wasn't a bad guy. He was just fed up with Hulk Hogan.
Right.
But the match, man, they moved. Hogan was actually doing wrestling moves, which is like he didn't do that in any of his other matches. So that was pretty great. And Macho is just amazing. I mean, like, going back and watching him, even if it's a bad match, he still, I mean, he was a star, man. Like, he just soaked everybody into focusing on him. But this match was really, really fun. Like, I would go back and watch it again. I would never watch Hogan and Warrior again, even though they had a really good reaction from the crowd. It was leg drop versus a splash, so that's fucking stupid.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'll throw mine in there. I'm gonna go WrestleMania 6. This is a hard pick, just like you said. It's whether it's entertainment. WrestleMania 6 was more about the entertainment aspect. Obviously, the crowd was fucking insane for this one. Everything they did, almost like the Andre and Hogan match, everything they did, the crowd was fucking going nuts for it. And they did have some good spots, like when both guys got knocked down, the ref was counting them both down. Like, that was a drama building moment. The dick sucking spot was good. That was a good moment.
Yeah.
But no, seriously though, like their test of strength, that was actually good stuff to watch. That's one of the better tests of strength that I remember. The ending I thought was pretty decent when Hogan, like, when he missed the splash and Hogan came back with he missed the leg drop and then he came in with the splash. That's the way it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the way it was timed out and done, I think that was really good. But then you had WrestleMania 5, which was also, I think they used Miss Elizabeth, like, perfectly. Like, every time Macho Man came out, he was, like, so... You thought he was actually going to fucking punch her right in the face.
Yeah,
He was so vicious towards her. It was really good, really well done. And I don't know if you go back and listen to it, Ventura was also really fucking, like, harsh on Elizabeth. He was talking about punching her in the nose and stuff, like, right on commentary, which was fucking nuts to hear.
Well, it's all her fault.
Yeah.
Give her a slap around, Macho.
But this is a really close match. It's whether or not... I think WrestleMania 5, the wrestling and stuff was actually better, obviously, because you got Macho Man in there. But just a narrow... I think these are really neck and neck. But at the end, I think the most entertaining match to watch for me was WrestleMania 6. But it's very close for me. So I'm going to pick 6. So what do you got, Scott?
Everything you said is true on that. It's Macho Hogan is the better worked match, but Hogan Warrior is the better spectacle by far, but it's the least worked match by far. Macho Hogan, I still remember when Hogan dumped Macho over the top, like head over heel. It was a perfect shot. Yeah. Like I still remember the picture of that in the WWF magazine back in the day. It was incredible. It's a year-long build. It's a perfect payoff to it. It's everything they wanted Enzo and Rusev to be, where you cheer for that guy instead. They figured it out. It took Macho Man to make that work. Hogan and Warrior, like they said, Matt, they were more cheering Hogan. I remember the original, and I've got it on one of the old DVDs. It was a 50-50. Like, there was a lot of Warrior cheering in Canada and a lot of Hogan cheering, so they definitely messed with the audio, which is stupid. I was always a Warrior fan, and Hogan, I was getting tired of him, so it was just an awesome thing. Intercontinental title, WWE title, both on the line. I'm nostalgic toward Hogan Warrior. I'm going with 6. It's more of a WrestleMania moment, even though it's not a better match. It's more WrestleMania. I think WrestleMania. Sure. I think Hogan Warrior. So
all right. So it looks like we have another tie. Here. Let's do a coin toss. Wait,
it was 3 versus 1 is not a tie, is it?
I thought me and Lee went for Hogan and.
Yeah, it's 2-2.
Lee, you picked Macho? Oh, forgive me. I thought you picked Warrior. I'm sorry.
No, we're good. Yeah, let's flip that coin. Right. Let's see. I mean, this is actually a coin toss, so I mean that's good.
Lee, here we go. Call it.
And again, okay. I'm fine with either advancing. Truthfully,
sure.
Okay, I'm going to call tails on this one.
It is tails.
Oh, thank fuck.
So what is that?
This is actually one of the few.
That is Hogan and Macho.
Hogan and Macho, and that's fine. It's the better match, but it's not as Mania.
Oh, it is for me, man. It totally is for me.
And I get it. Yeah,
sure. Yeah. Okay.
They never did that good. So
I guess we're gonna move on. Here we go. WrestleMania 7: Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter versus WrestleMania 8: Hulk Hogan versus Sid Justice. I guess I might as well go first here. I'll hop in here. Okay, WrestleMania 7, Hogan, Slaughter. This match was bad. This was I mean, it had all of the elements that should be good. Like, Sergeant Slaughter was super hated. So you would think
would think the match, the crowd would be super hot, everything. They would hopefully click and everything would be good, but no, it was bad. It was so boring. So to me, it was very forgettable. Hogan had a horrible I don't know. Everything was just bad. There was nothing that really worked good for me in this match, except there was a nice blade job. Hogan did a pretty good blade job. I don't know if you guys caught that, where he got hit in the head with a chair, and it was like you couldn't even notice. He did it so fucking good. But other than that, that's literally, to me, the only highlight of that match was a good blade job, so that's probably not good. This WrestleMania 8, I don't know about you guys. I think Sid looked pretty decent. I mean, he had a good power bomb. I remember his finisher, his powerbomb to Hogan. He hit a choke slam on Hogan. I remember the commentators said, "Oh, this is one of the first times this has ever been done to Hogan," and stuff. Like, it looks so generic. But I think, was that the first time anybody's ever done a choke slam or something? It was like they kind of
maybe in the WWF.
Yeah, Taker hadn't debuted yet, so
yeah, whatever it was, they kind of like the commentators really sold the choke slam to Hogan.
Or no, he had debuted, but yeah, it was.
Yeah, and everybody knows
it wasn't a thing yet. So
everybody knows
Taker was choking people, but he was.
Yeah, he fought Snuka on that. That's right. Yeah.
And everybody knows about the botched thing with Papa Shango and all that shit. But
yeah,
I don't know. Both matches to me forgettable. I think I'm just gonna pick WrestleMania 8 just because I liked it. I like the wrestling a little bit better between Hogan and Sid. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. It's a toss-up for me, really, but I'm going to go 8. I really didn't care for 7 at all. It was just really boring to me. But I'm going to pick 8, even though I think 7 should have been way better. It should have been getting the win here, but not for me, it's not. But, all right, Matt Zion, who you got?
Hogan and Slaughter was not only just fucking bad, like that. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything.
Well, Hogan had a bad back.
Oh, okay. Well,
story-wise,
I'm going to throw it out here.
He was working the back, so.
I didn't. Yeah, well, I didn't notice anything different from Hogan. He just.
Yeah, no. He was legit fine, but he was pretending.
I thought you meant he was actually hurt.
No, and Slaughter was going for the back. So.
But it wasn't just a bad match. It was also just fucking offensive as shit, man. Like, there were people over there dying, and they turned it into a wrestling angle. Like, come on. But the professional wrestling is supposed to be, especially back then, was about getting away from reality, and that's why this flopped. This flopped because nobody wanted to see it. Like, if anything, they should have just done Hogan versus Warrior 2, because I think the crowd would have eaten it up, and it would have had a good story, because Hogan wanted to beat Warrior, but, for whatever reason, Warrior's a pain in the ass to deal with, so they had to get rid of him, so that's why they went with this route. Sid, I think Sid would be successful today. He's not great, but he's got the look. I kind of think he's a little hokey, obviously, but man, I think he was a little ahead of his time, really, because we watched both of the WrestleMania main events he had, and he looked like he would belong now rather than back then. But That match too, it was the better match, so I'm picking it. Hogan versus Sid, but it was still, man, what a terrible fucking shit show. And the fact that they weren't the title match and they went on last was insulting as shit. And this is the one where they didn't do Hogan and Ric Flair. Like, what? There's no excuse.
They announced that and then pulled back on it.
They pulled back on it because they ran a few house shows, and the house shows drew like shit for some reason. Yeah, so Vince basically said, well, if they can't draw on house shows, I'm not putting them in the WrestleMania main event, and that's why they switched it. It's like, what? I mean, like, that should have been a WrestleMania main event. My God, what the or at the very least, the title should have went on last. But, you know, Hogan, fuck the title, brother. I'm bigger than the title. Put me in there with Sid Justice. And that ending, for people that don't know, Papa Shango, I guess, like, he missed his cue. He didn't come out on time because he was supposed to run out and cause the DQ, and then Warrior would come back and save the day.
He was supposed to interrupt Hogan's pinfall on Sid.
Yeah, and they fucked the whole thing up, and it just looked like a mess.
So Sid had to kick out.
I give the win to Sid, Justice, and Hogan only because I think Sid was pretty cool. Other than that, though, both these main events fucking sucked. So
I agree with that. All right, Scott, who you picking for this one?
Well, to piggyback on what Matt said with Sid, I think Sid would work today. He's hokey, but he sells it, so it works. That's how you get over. The whole not being for the title and the title match going on, like Savage and Flair should have been the main event if they were the title, but Hogan and Flair absolutely should have been it. Matt, you said in the chat before that that's the biggest missed Mania match ever. I'd argue that maybe Austin Hogan was, but Rock Hogan ended up good, but Sid Hogan is no comparison. So yeah, this is the worst. Like, the replacement wasn't worth it. That's a different tournament though. Hogan and Slaughter should have been in the LA Memorial Coliseum, but there was too many death threats and bomb threats and sniper threats. They had to put it indoors, so it wasn't like that Mania feel. And like I said, Hogan was with a bad back storyline, so whenever they feign an injury like that, it always kind of drags it down, and you're doing it to Hogan, and I never liked that match. It's also soured because it was after the Hogan Warrior, which was awesome, so comparatively, in my mind anyway. Hogan and Sid, I like Sid. He's fun. I gotta go with that one. I like watching Sid more than Slaughter. I think Slaughter was not quite past his prime because he made it work, but he wasn't anything compared to what he was in the 70s and 80s. And Sid was he was the man, so.
All right, well, that's going to be 3, but even though, who are you going to pick, Lee?
Yeah, I was going to go Hogan, Sid Justice as well. The match was kind of shit, but I've always had a soft spot for Sid. I just like how batshit crazy the guy is, legitimately and as a character. I think he's living his gimmick like 24/7. And Sergeant Slaughter, Hulk Hogan was 5 or 6 years too late. Slaughter was past his prime, I would argue at this point. He wasn't in the position to carry a fucking lump of shit like Hulk Hogan to anything watchable. He tried to bump his fucking ass off for Hogan, but even then it was slow and plodding, and it just wasn't a good match. And of course all the political stuff around it was just fucking repulsive. It was just carny bullshit, and it didn't fly. Hulk Hogan versus Sid Justice, despite all the bullshit at the end of it, the fact that the Ultimate Warrior ran in and looked different enough that people thought it was a new guy and the original had died or something, I
remember that, yeah.
Yeah. I just go for that. It's interesting, though. This was one of those matches where Vince was looking constantly for new guys to replace Hulk Hogan, and Sid Justice was one of those at one of these points. But Sid Justice, he could have been Hulk Hogan. He could have been the new Hulk Hogan, but he always wanted to take time off and play softball and not do a full-time schedule. So that's what we were left with. Hulk Hogan still running the fucking board, and Sid Justice just being second fiddle. But still, Hulk Hogan, Sid Justice.
Cool. All right, well, clean sweep there. WrestleMania 8, Hogan versus Sid Justice advances. Now we go to WrestleMania 9 and WrestleMania 10, which both Yokozuna versus Bret Hart. So just to clarify, WrestleMania 9, we know Hogan actually had a 20-second match with Yokozuna, but we're going to count Bret Hart versus Yokozuna for the tournament here. So WrestleMania 9 versus WrestleMania 10, I guess I'll just jump out and go first real quick, let you guys think about it. believe it or not, I'm going to go WrestleMania 9. I know that's definitely, I'm probably on my own on this one, I think, but I think, I know the match was short for WrestleMania 9, but I don't think it was that bad. Everybody, I know I heard Bret Hart hated it, and he despised the match. Apparently, Yoko, like, he
went home early.
Yeah, he went home early. He got too gassed out, apparently, but, man, I don't know. I think for the short amount of time they had, I think it was a decent match. Bret started off like a fire. I remember he caught Yoko in the ropes. There was a pretty cool spot where he got his leg caught in the ropes. That was fun. The big downfall, I guess, would be Mr. Fuji took forever to throw the fucking salt or powder or whatever it was in his eyes. It took him forever, but yeah. And then the whole shit with Hogan, that was weird. That definitely kind of downed the match some. That just, I know you guys are gonna go into Hogan being Hogan soon, but WrestleMania 10. I'm sorry, guys, but I don't remember fucking anything from this match. I remember Roddy was the ref. That was fun. He stood on the hard cam side though. He blocked like half the match. I don't know if you recognize that or not, which was pretty bad. They could have at least told him to stand on the right side of the fucking ring as a ref. The only thing that I actually remember was Yokozuna came out at WrestleMania 9, 505 pounds, they said. He was announced at 505 pounds, and then he came out at WrestleMania 10, 565. So, I mean, I guess that's not that much for as big as he was, but he gained 60 pounds in a year, which is pretty interesting. But I didn't care for WrestleMania 10, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going with WrestleMania 9. It was short. It was not good, but it was decent. WrestleMania 10, I just don't remember anything about it, really. So I think it's going to be unpopular, but I'm going to pick WrestleMania 9. Lee, who you got?
I'm going 10. It was the better match, and there's more historical significance here because this is where Vince finally said "fuck you" to Hulk Hogan and apologized to Bret Hart, basically saying we should have gave you the title long before this. You should have been carrying the company for at least a couple years now. And it was almost kind of a sea change for the WWF. And, of course, that being said, they had some of their worst years following this as far as attendance and everything coming in. But it was a rebuilding stage for the WWF at this point, and you started seeing smaller guys like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels just putting on these fucking great matches when you had all these other weird gimmick characters just stinking up the fucking joint. But, I mean, you had to get Hogan the fuck out of there, and that was the WrestleMania where Hogan finally got the fuck out of there, and they started putting some new people on top. And so for that alone, I'll go with that. Both these matches were not good, but the second one at least established Bret Hart as a world champion material and top of the fucking heap. So that's where I'm standing on that.
Okay, I can see it. Yeah. All right, Scott, who you got?
I do agree that Yoko Bret from 9 is probably like, it's almost a sprint, which you'd never think of with Yokozuna, but it was under 10 minutes, I think. It was fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was fun, and then of course there is, like you said, the whole stuff with Hogan afterwards coming out to save the day, and that was all part of a plan. They were supposed to have a SummerSlam match. Bret says there was a photo shoot, so it was all part of a thing. Like, it was like that would be the torch pass, but that never happened, and we have this legacy instead. With 10, let's not forget it was the first, well, since Hogan, Sid, and Flair, Savage. This was a double main event because Bret and Lex both won the Rumble. Mm-hmm. So Yoko defended against Luger earlier, and then the winner fought here. But Bret fought Owen earlier in the night, first match of the card. Awesome match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Owen won. What I love about 10 is that Bret won the hard-fought match, even though Piper with the whole rope and Yoko falling, whatever. He won. The crowd lifts him up. All the guys come out, lift him on their shoulders. It's an amazing WrestleMania moment. It's fantastic. The right guy won. And there's Owen saying, "I beat you."
Yeah.
It was amazing. And we had literally the next year set of Owen and Bret for the title. That's 10. I love 10 for that. So.
Yeah, another one of the top 5 storylines of all time in the WWF is the fucking Owen Bret thing for me.
Mm-hmm. And that's why Owen winning the beginning of it made him legit, and then he's like, that should be me, and who's to say it shouldn't? So I just love that match.
All right, well, Matt Zion, let's see, you're the deciding factor here. Who you picking?
Yeah, 10. Yeah, 10.
10. All right,
come on.
I figured that.
9 is just 9 would have been fine if they had gone with the plan of having Hogan and Brett, the following year. But Hogan, being cunt Hogan, agreed to do the match. That was all set up, but then it was real that he never intended to ever lose to Brett. He just wanted one more title win at a WrestleMania, and then he's like, well, I'll drop it to Yokozuna, but that's it.
Yeah, at King of the Ring instead, when it was supposed to be with Brett at SummerSlam.
SummerSlam. And so, yeah, I mean, Yokozuna, Brett at 10, at least it made Brett look good, like better. It still had a terrible, like, poor Bret Hart. First WrestleMania 9, he loses like a little bitch, and then his friend goes in and steals the belt. And then WrestleMania 10, the only reason he won is because Yokozuna is so fucking fat that he couldn't keep his balance on the corner. Yeah. And that's the only reason he won. I just think Brett looked better in 10, and I think 10 was a more enjoyable match. And fuck Hulk Hogan. Thank God he is done here. See you later.
And that's the last Hogan main event we'll be looking at until we come back on the round.
That's true.
We're not even talking, Bomber, here about the fact these are the main event of the show. Like, the show, it's the capper. And I think for 10, it's a much better capper. 9 was weak. 9 was really weak. But 10 was a strong show all through, and this one finished it well. So
yeah. And actually, as I think as you were talking about the show there, or one of those, I didn't talk at the very beginning of the show here, our show, that there's multiple main events in some shows, but we're doing the one that goes on last. I should have mentioned that, because some people, well, that was a double main event. But yeah, we're doing the ones that go on last. Yes. Yeah,
it's worth mentioning, like they said, Savage and Flair. We'll mention them to be like, yeah, that one was a better match, but not last, therefore.
Yeah, we talked about that in the back chat of how a lot of these WrestleManias had way better matches earlier in the card that should have been the legit main events.
Actually, geez, if you've been watching our show, we talk about that a lot anyway. So, I know you're going to get to it, but I think the next bracket's the easiest pick of the whole thing.
I think next so too. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and go through it real quick. You guys ready? Let's do it. So first of all, WrestleMania 10, Yoko Brett advances over WrestleMania 9, Yoko Brett. But WrestleMania 11 now, Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor going up against WrestleMania 12, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, the Iron Man match. I guess I'll go real quick, since I think we should just fly through this one. Yeah, I'm going the Iron Man match, believe it or not. WrestleMania 12, slightly better match. No, obviously WrestleMania 12 is, I mean, how else can you say it? One of the most iconic classic matches in WWE history. I think it's going to be pretty hard to vote against it. So I'm going to be interested to see how far it goes here. But WrestleMania 11, the one thing I do want to point out real quick, I don't think it was as bad as everybody says it was. I watched it. LT did a phenomenal job as a non-wrestler. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that did a better job than LT that wasn't an actual wrestler in a match. Can you guys, do you know anybody right off the top of your head?
Mayweather.
No, he was spectacular.
Yeah.
For having
him and Mayweather
experience.
are 1 and 2.
Mayweather did pretty good. I'll give you that.
Mayweather's more of a combat athlete, though. This guy's a football player.
Yeah. And his forearm shot was like you talk about best in the business. LT's forearm shots were fucking amazing. They were really good.
Football move. It's a football move, of course.
Yeah, I mean, holy shit. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's not going to be the Iron Man match, obviously, but I don't think the match is as bad as everybody says it is. A lot of people shit on it, say it's the worst match ever, blah, blah, blah. I don't think the Bam Bam and LT match was that bad. But obviously, WrestleMania 12 for me. Matt Zion, go for it.
I'm gonna take so much shit for this.
No, don't even.
I do not like Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 12. I think it is one of the most boring, overrated matches that's held in regard to most people saying it's the best match of all time.
Wow.
I mean, like, even the first time I watched it, I was like, it was okay. I mean, I was never a Bret Hart guy. I think that's a big problem.
Wow.
I always thought Bret was too repetitive. I don't think Bret, he had good psychology, but he was basically John Cena before John Cena, because he just did the same things. Every once in a while, he'd break out something different. But man, if you've watched one Bret Hart match, you've watched them all, and this was a fucking hour-long plus one. And
oh my god,
I don't know. I can't do it. I tried to go through and rewatch it again, and it was just too fucking long. And Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor had a You know what? I didn't even know people thought it had a bad reputation because Bam Bam looked great. Lawrence Taylor looked fucking fantastic for being a guy who had zero experience, and the crowd was eating it up. I think it's sad that Shawn Michaels and Diesel got fucked out of their main event that year, but you know, it is what it is. The news coverage was on Lawrence Taylor, so Vince did the right thing. I am going with WrestleMania 11. I really don't like WrestleMania 12 at all. I can appreciate that it was two guys in their prime wrestling for an hour, but unfortunately, it just didn't click for me at all. And I know I've had so many comments.
I was about to say, I think you have you just jack off to these comments like trashing you. That you've got to be fishing for hate here. Wow.
No, I'm telling you, it had nothing to do with that. It's just, goddamn, man, it's such. All the other Iron Man matches are so much more fun. Like the problem with this one is they didn't do anything. They just wrestled. And I get that that's what they were going for, but when you have an hour-long match, look at like Triple H and Rock, look at Angle and Lesnar. Like, it just felt like they kept the pace up a little better. There was a shitload of just not doing much going on in the Bret Hart Shawn Michaels match. Just not doing much, and because they knew they had that hour to fill. The overtime was great. I really enjoyed that. That was cool. That super kick that Shawn won the title off of was brutal as fuck. Like he just killed Bret Hart.
He didn't quite clear the first one, so he did a second one.
Yeah, he killed him.
Yeah, that's it. That's in Bret's book. He's like, just do it again. Just eat it. Go.
Yeah. So, but whatever. Fuck it. Be mad at me. But I would rather sit through Bam Bam Bigelow and Lawrence Taylor 1,000 times than ever have to put an entire hour and a half into Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania.
Well, I will give you this. You got balls. I'm gonna get the same kind of heat later. I'm going to get the same heat later for some matches because I know I'm going against some, but not this bad. This is pretty bad. But, okay, Scott, who do you got? WrestleMania 11 or 12?
Well, Matt's right. Diesel and Michaels got hosed. I don't think it would compare to Michaels and Hart anyway. Like, it wasn't that great of a match. It should have had a better story than it actually did. But Bigelow and Taylor... Taylor, like you said, he's one of the better celebrity matches that ever was. He was believable in it. Having all the football players and the $1 Million Corporation was good. Like it elevated everything great. Michaels and Hart, Matt saying he doesn't like it is like someone saying he doesn't like Citizen Kane. You're allowed to dislike things that people like.
Citizen Kane sucks ass. So,
exactly, I agree with you. It's overrated. People say they like it because they say people like it. It doesn't hold up. The first one's not always the great. You can't say that one from the 40s is the best ever. We've done better since. Same idea here. There's been better Iron Man matches. I'm a big Bret Hart fan, so this is like the first of him starting to turn, which is where we got, because he was all upset about the sudden death. He was pissed off. They wrestled. It was good. It's better than Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam, I feel, so I am going with 12, but I really didn't like either, to be fair.
Oh, my God. What am I hearing
Diesel
here?
Well, Diesel Undertaker was a better match from 12. It was a way better match. And I was more entertained by it the whole time through. Bret and Michaels, it's good. Absolutely. And it's better than Bigelow and Taylor. But it's not the epic be-all, end-all that everyone says it is. Wow. Bigelow and Taylor, let's give credit to Bigelow. He carried the fuck out of that match.
Bigelow did a fantastic job, yeah.
He did something that maybe no one else could, and people need to recognize that, too. His only Mania main event is that.
Yep.
And he did great, but I still think the Iron Man match is better, so it wins here.
Yeah, I actually didn't go into the Iron Man match as much because I figured we were going to talk about it a lot more. But all right, Lee, don't kill me here. Who you going
Lee?
I tell you what, Matt. Teddy Long just ran in and he said, "We're booking a tag team match, player." And guess what? Me and Matt are on the fucking same team here.
Oh my God! What is happening? No,
Undertaker.
No.
Bam Bam
Are
Bigelow.
you going to coin flip away this?
No.
Bam Bam Bigelow, Lawrence Taylor is the more entertaining match. Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart is a decent technical match, but it does not hold up and it does not age well. As far as Iron Man matches go, it does on the opposite side of the scale of what other bad Iron Man matches do, where either you have too few falls or too many falls, and this one has too few falls, and it doesn't work because both of these guys did not want to take the first goddamn fall in the match because their egos were involved in it. And so that sucks, and it made for a boring match when there really should have been 2 or 3 falls in this, at the very least. No, Bam Bam Bigelow carried the fuck out of Lawrence Taylor, and Lawrence Taylor threw a major motherfucking forearm, and they built the match around it, and the finish made sense, and that was an excellent match. I'm sorry, but it was, and it was the more entertaining one, so I'm gonna have to go with it.
Oh my god,
yeah.
I can't. No, man.
And
No,
here's the
I
irony.
didn't.
If
I
it
didn't
was
go into
Diesel and Shawn
WrestleMania
Michaels-
12 because I just thought this was going to be a breeze through match, so I didn't even get
Yeah,
into
I thought-
everything I
Oh,
wanted to
just how
say.
you thought the Road Warriors were gonna breeze through the tag team.
No,
video.
Bomber.
Oh,
I
what
thought
a hush.
nothing. I thought this would be so easy. If it was
Okay.
Shawn Michaels and Diesel, I think that one wouldn't be over because that match
Wow.
is less entertaining than Bam Bam and Taylor.
Did you guys go back and rewatch this? Because you guys are saying like it doesn't hold up. I went back and watched this, and I think
Matt
it
couldn't
was.
get through it. Is how bad he
Man.
thought it was. So
This was just as good, if not better, when I went back and watched it. I really thoroughly enjoyed that Iron Man match.
Well, you know what though? No matter what, it doesn't matter because we're going to the coin
Oh my
flip.
god, we are
You know?
literally. If you, oh my
Lee.
god, we're about to
Lee.
lose every person ever.
I love
Okay.
this show.
Oh my
Here we
god.
go.
Oh my.
Lee,
No, before
Call it.
I will say, Bomber, I went into this thinking the way you thought. I was thinking, oh yeah, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, I'm going to love this. And I watched it, and I watched Bam Bam versus Taylor, and I was like, fuck it, this is the better match.
I was way more surprised, but wow. Okay, whatever, guys. Just fucking flip it, man. Whatever, do it. Just
Lee, what do you say?
Okay, I'm calling tails.
Yeah, Sales.
Yeah!
no,
Yes. Yes.
no, man.
Fuck you, overrated Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, man. Fuck you.
Are you
The wrong
kidding
match.
me?
No,
wrong match
this
made
is
it
real
through.
Life. This is real
Wrong
life.
match.
No fuck-
Easily the wrong match. No, like not even close to.
Bummer. It won't make it out of the round.
Wow,
Well, we'll
guys, you don't understand. We literally
Now.
just lost every single person that listened to us
Lee,
ever.
imagine
No. Now
Winner-
they're on board.
3
We have
hour
to see where
video.
this goes.
Bam Bam Bigelow and Lawrence Taylor.
What am I looking at?
Oh no way!
Yeah.
How far does this go? Everybody, watch this. How far does this go?
People gets for being over fucking rated.
It was
If this gets
overrated.
there for being like the Steiners, yeah.
It was not overrated. Oh my god! Wow. Okay, whatever.
No,
We might as well just go. We might as well just go. We're just gonna
Let's
go.
go. We'll get there, don't worry.
Anybody
There's
still
more.
listening? Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening. Here we go.
Our
WrestleMania.
credibility, if you can find it, let us know.
Wow, we're hated so bad right now. WrestleMania 13, Psycho Sid versus The Undertaker versus WrestleMania 14, Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold. Scott, how about we start with you for this one?
Okay, this is the match where Sid shit his pants
Wait,
versus
what?
the match where Michaels had a broken back.
Wait, did he really shit his pants?
Yes.
Absolutely. And he got tombstoned after he shit his pants. So Undertaker, with a face full of Sid shit, tombstoned him and won the title.
I honestly did not know that. That is
He absolutely did.
wow.
Move. Like what did he take where he shit his pants? I assume
He has irritable bowel syndrome. It
Oh.
just happens.
Oh my god, that's
He sometimes poops in the ring.
Sid
And it
could have
happened
opened
to
his
Mania.
eyes and crapped himself.
So go Sid
Hours
for
ago.
powering through it. Go Taker for powering through that.
wow.
So Michaels and Stone Cold. I think that was no DQ as well. This is Stone Cold's era. This is like Bret Hart at Mania 10. Michaels died in the ring. Like he sacrificed himself for our sins in that match, and you can see it. Like he gutted through. Like I don't think I've seen anybody in a match outside of Triple H's quad. Like it was kind of crazy. Sid Undertaker is not memorable, and yet I loved both those guys. I wanted to see that match back at 8. I think Michaels Stone Cold is the obvious one, but I prefer Sid and Undertaker.
Oh my god.
Wow.
What are
So,
we doing here,
yeah.
guys? What are we doing here?
We're going truth. We're woke.
I mean, these
we're
are our
woke on the
opinions, but
podcast.
holy fuck, guys.
No, Michaels Stone Cold. I think it's fine, but I don't remember anything except for Michaels taking that back body drop and the punch from Tyson when he was already dead. Sid Undertaker was more about Undertaker finally getting the title for the first time in 6 years after fighting monsters and being pissed off about it and against Sid. And yeah, I just liked it better overall.
Wow.
I'm a Taker fan more than either Michaels or Stone Cold
I don't-
in
I don't
that
even-
moment. So.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm just gonna jump in.
Hey,
gonna
I'm
go-
with you on Brett, so come on.
Yeah, but this isn't that bad, but this is pretty bad too. All right, I'm gonna go next. Obviously, I'm picking WrestleMania 14. I'm picking Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels. Fantastic match, and just just thinking and just knowing that Shawn Michaels was so hurt during this match, he fucking did so good. Like that spot into the corner where he went flying and tried to do the flip, but hit really bad and just flopped. Dear God, you just...
Yeah, but Sid pooped himself.
Sid did
I'm
poop.
looking it up right now.
I can't believe the poop. All right, so
Yeah, that's a Mania moment.
I'm going to talk about the WrestleMania 13 really quick. They tried to do a bear hug, which felt like 20 minutes, kind of like what Hogan and Andre did, and Hogan and Ultimate Warrior did. I don't know if they did or not. Either way, they tried to do one that felt like 20 minutes, and there was no good payoff like the Hogan. Nobody cared. Nobody said a word. He finally got out of it, and it was just a waste of fucking time. It was a wrestle. That's all it was.
It's when he squeezed out the poop.
That may have been it. Who
I'm
knows?
not letting this go. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Actually, I like Brett's involvement in the match. Like at the beginning, he came down. How unique was that? Like watching him, the match was getting ready to start, and Brett just walks down to the ring.
Yeah, that was awesome. Actually.
He just
like that.
Yeah,
It felt so real compared to everything else going on.
And now the backstory on that, I talked about it on one a little while ago, but that's when Sid and Undertaker was going to be a match, and Brett and Stone Cold was a match, and there was a whole Fatal 4 thing, and Sid and Brett had a title match, and their Mania opponent was helping the other guy get beat up so that their match would be the title match. So it was a cool dichotomy between the two. Austin Brett was the better match at 13. Far and away, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, that was still playing off that. They weren't done with that yet. So
yeah, that was match of the night. Obviously, was Brett Stone Cold. But man, I think all the involvement with Brett in the match was good, and I really like Shawn on commentary. Shawn Michaels on commentary was really good. He had some really awesome jabs with Brett. That was good stuff. You could tell they just did not fucking like it. It was so good. It was so real. Yeah, as Matt Zion said, it just felt so real. But. The match, though, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't, like, great. The actual match, the ending, both guys came out looking strong because the way Brett interfered, it didn't make Sid look bad at all. Both guys came out looking strong. So, I mean, it was a good overall match. It wasn't bad at all. I liked it. But WrestleMania 14, man, they brawled all over the ringside area. And I heard you say it was a no DQ match, but later in the match, I noticed Austin... was he the one that got Austin? Yeah, Austin got hit with a ring bell, and the commentator, I don't remember if it was King or somebody was like, oh, he's going to get disqualified. The ref didn't see it. He's going to get disqualified. After they already battled on the stage, they threw each other into the dumpsters. Like, this is after all that. They were talking about getting DQ'd. So that was kind of confusing.
Just chalk that up to one of the commentators not knowing what the fuck.
I mean, that may have been it. But, man, the match was fucking, it was great. Just knowing that Shawn Michaels was hurt as bad as he was. Stone Cold did a great job. Shawn Michaels did a phenomenal job. Shawn Michaels, this is probably like the best look. Like, I don't know if he was like if he was juicing or what. I don't know what Shawn was doing, but he fucking looked good.
Oh God, he was on everything you could find.
He looked fucking. His body looked good. Yep. It looked good.
You said that.
Yep, I did. But anyway, personally, this is one of my favorite WrestleMania matches for me personally. I'm going WrestleMania 14, and I hope it advances because I think it's going to go far. So I guess, Lee, let's see what you got.
Yeah, we got to go 14. Sid versus Undertaker was, I mean, for that period of Undertaker's sort of WrestleMania matches, it was better than most, but that's still not saying a lot. I mean, this was still before Undertaker really became like the super elite fucking worker he was for like 5 or 10 years. But man, Shawn Michaels versus Steve Austin was almost like hands down a fucking miracle that it actually came off as good as it was, considering how fucked up HBK was at that point. Here you can actually see HBK toning down and changing his style just so he could work through this match and survive. And this is where you see Austin still working his kind of stunning Steve Austin style before he had his injury, and then he had to change to the just all-out fucking brawler that we know him as his run continued. So there was actually a pretty decent wrestling match in there as well, and it had a lot of good drama and had the big angle. So yeah, Shawn Michaels, Steve Austin, hands down wins.
All right, Matt Zion.
Oh man, you're gonna be upset with no, you're not.
No.
Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold.
I feel betrayed.
Michaels and Stone Cold is just a really good fucking match, and I mean, like it was the beginning of Austin, as their guy, and Michaels looked fucking phenomenal out there, considering that he had, a back injury. You wouldn't even know if you watched that match and had no prior knowledge of what was going on. Sid and Taker wasn't like awful, but it was a little boring, and it was strange. It was strange them doing like the hardcore fighting on the outside, and the announcers saying they're like, oh no, both men went to the powers that be and got the match no DQ, and it just felt off. The whole thing felt off, and I'm disappointed because I just went back and watched it, and you cannot tell that Sid pooped his pants at all.
No, you can't tell, but he.
No, I couldn't see anything.
And that makes me mad, and that's why I gave the vote to Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold.
No, even though I picked against it, it's the Mania moment. It really should, but I still like my pick.
The best part of Sid and Undertaker is the Bret Hart stuff. That was fucking awesome. Like I'd never seen this match before, so I didn't know that was a thing. But him coming out, I loved his interaction with Michaels. I like how they They were gold together when they would talk to each other because they fucking loathed one another in real life. So it just always translated so well. I mean, like, just Michaels calling him like a pussy or like a prissy boy, and then HBK calling like Bret Hart. What would he say? He was saying like I don't know, like, you fakers. Like, there's weird stuff, but like they were going after one another, and like
Brett was just like full out calling Shawn Michaels a fruit and a faggot whenever he could get a chance to do it.
Yeah, because of the Playgirl, because of the Playgirl magazine.
Yeah, he's a bit of an old school conservative Canadian, so he wasn't afraid of doing the Jerry Lawler route and just like outright calling his opponents fags.
It was fine. I think Sid and Undertaker is worth a view. But that's when WWF was kind of like in disarray, and they wanted Brett to be the heel. They wanted Shawn to be the guy, but Shawn was hurt, so they were just like, well, I guess we'll do this. So, a little side note that I remember from this is Sid didn't show up to do the promotion for this match, and Undertaker didn't talk at the time, and he didn't have Paul Bearer with him. So their like building up to this was just Undertaker sitting silently at a table with nothing happening, and that was the press conference. Wow. But Shawn Michaels Stone Cold is a fucking phenomenal match. It's one of the all-time greats, I think.
Yep. And it's amazing it even happened. Let's not forget.
Yep. All right. Well, there you go. WrestleMania 14, Shawn versus Austin advances, and here we go down to WrestleMania 15. We're talking, Rock versus Austin versus WrestleMania 16, the four-way elimination match. Triple H versus The Rock versus Mick Foley versus Big Show. Now, maybe I thought the other match was going to be a big landslide. This one may be the big one. Who wants to start this one off? Scott, how about you? How about you get in there? Get in.
Sure. The four-way had a McMahon in every corner. You can't forget that.
Oh yeah.
And it was elimination rules as well. What was it? Rock was added later because he screwed up on the Rumble because Big Show actually won, but then Rock got in anyway, and Foley because he deserved a Mania moment, and those two went out first, and then Triple H retains, and the champion heel kept the belt, but then Rock bottomed him, and it's okay. That just left a sour everything in it. I didn't like that at all. But Rock and Stone Cold at 15... it's like, why this? Why? We just saw that in December for the IC title, and it was whatever. It didn't feel like a Mania match either, but it was the coming out party for The Rock in its own way, so that's fine. I didn't like either. It's like, which one is least bad? I don't know. That one had Mick Foley in it, but it was the bad chair spot. But, 15, it was more of the Stone Cold show. It was continuing, establishing him. I guess 15 wins. Okay. Having the heel champion win was just the wrong choice in that moment. Even though Rock won it a month later, it was just, no. Yeah. I didn't like that. So I'll go with 15.
All right. Lee, what you got?
Yeah, I gotta go Rock Austin. WrestleMania the main event should never be a multi-man match as far as I'm concerned. That's just fucking bullshit. And that match did not need to happen. And it was a bummer that Triple H won it. It was sort of the height of people just getting sick of the McMahons being in every goddamn storyline, and they're still doing it today. Fucking assholes. But, yeah, and, you bring back Mick Foley after he just got retired, and it's supposed to be a big thing, and he did nothing in the match, basically. He just sort of got beat up in the match, and that was it.
He killed himself.
Fell awkwardly on chairs.
Yes. And, Big Show in there. Big Show was not having a very good year at that point. And fuck that match. And Rock versus Stone Cold, it wasn't a great match, but it just wins by default because it was the turd that floated to the top of the bowl, basically.
All right. All right. Well, I'll go real quick. I'm gonna go WrestleMania 15 as well. I think the WrestleMania 15 match was really damn good. They brawled all over the ringside area. Both different sides of the crowd was fun. That was actually, I noted this from WrestleMania 1 till now. This was the first WrestleMania main event. First main event to use false finishes. By the way, I don't know if you noticed that or not. They had 2 rock bottoms, 2 stunners. They've battled all the arena. It took 4 fucking refs. They threw everything. Vince McMahon interfered. They fucking did everything in this match.
Hold on. Are you saying there was no near falls in Michaels and Brett at 12? Of course there was. That was the whole point.
Well, okay, maybe, okay.
Oh, what a liar!
Well,
but no, I get what you're saying. Like they hit a finisher and got out, like false finishers.
Yeah,
I guess.
I meant Rock hits the rock bottom 1, 2.
Yes.
Okay, that's kind of what. Yeah, that is
okay. That makes more sense.
Anyway,
you're not as wrong now.
So, to me, I guess maybe I'm in the wrong here, but I thought it felt like it was a classic match to me. The whole Mankind coming down as the ref and stuff, it was, I mean, I don't remember back then storyline wise what was all going on, but it felt kind of weird.
I do, yeah. He beat Triple H to be a ref.
Okay, well there you go. I remember I really liked the match when I saw it the first time, and going back and watching it, I think this is another one where I liked it even more going back and watching it now. But WrestleMania 16, a lot of people say it's bad. It was okay. It was whatever. To me, this was another one of the matches where it wasn't that big of a deal. But I think easily for me, WrestleMania 15, and I think to me, it's one of the classics for me. But Matt Zion, what you got?
So little known trivia on here. 15 was almost Stone Cold versus Mankind. Mm-hmm. And then they ended up, they were going back and forth on what they should do. They almost did a triple threat, but they ended up, because they had the Vince was like, no, it has to be a one-on-one. You know, that's what WrestleMania is. Ironically enough, next year he broke it so the McMahons could all be out there. And 16 was almost, instead of Mick Foley, was going to be Jericho. Jericho was actually in the promotional pictures, the early stuff, and Jericho said that like he casually saw one of the things, and he's like, oh, I guess I'm in the WrestleMania main event, and then they changed it last minute on him. So 15's better. It's not. I think it's easily the weakest of the Rock and Stone Cold WrestleMania matches. It's just Rock wasn't quite a main event guy in my opinion yet. Like after this, I think he clearly started to rise, but it felt like Stone Cold was just beating the shit out of like an upper mid card guy. To me personally, but it's still a better match overall because 16 is just a mess. Poor Mick Foley comes back. You think like, I mean, I remember my friends and I thought Mick was gonna win, because
really,
because like we're like, why would they bring him back out of retirement and he never got WrestleMania main event if he wasn't gonna win, and then he just, you know, nothing really happened. Big Show was a non-factor, literally just in there to lose real quick. It should have just been Triple H versus The Rock, but I know that they did this so that the McMahons could get into the storyline because they, you know, the McMahons were pushing good ratings at the time, and also the theory was they could do Triple H versus Rock for the next like 3 to 4 months, and like just
which they
keep
did.
Doing it, keep doing it over and over again. But I'm gonna go with 15. I don't think either one's like awful by any means, but I think these were definite attitude era main events, not super great.
Yeah, there was a lot of shit thrown into both of them.
Yeah.
All right, well, there you go. The Rock versus Austin, WrestleMania 15 advances. Let's go on down to WrestleMania 17. We got,
easiest bracket.
Guess what? Rock versus Austin, Rock versus Austin again against WrestleMania 18. Jericho versus Triple H. Well, I guess go for it, Matt, since you think it's going to be easy.
I mean, the Rock versus Stone Cold from 17 is my favorite match of all time. So, I mean, if that's a spoiler alert for the way I'm going to be voting, just take it. But I have always adored this match, and I actually think it's aged much better with time, because that heel turn from Austin, it was kind of iffy at the time. I remember I liked it, but I remember a lot of people really hated it. But if you go back and watch it now and you really think about it, it makes sense, because usually when you have a problem with a boss, either you leave your job or you start kissing ass so that you can, rise above and start getting better pay and stuff like that. I mean, it's a natural progression that Stone Cold would one day use Vince McMahon instead of just giving him stunners all the time and making his life a living hell. But Rock and Austin, man, that crowd was awesome. I mean, like, they wanted to fuck Stone Cold Steve Austin. They wanted to get in the ring, take off his trunks, and fuck him as hard as they could, because they were all over it. And Rock, this is when Rock, I think, truly embraced being the kind of like the John Cena at the time, where he's supposed to be the good guy, but he's constantly getting booed. Their brawling was amazing. I loved the ending with Austin just beating the shit. I mean, he beat The Rock by just pummeling him with a chair.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I mean, like, he didn't have to hit a stunner. He just brutally beat the shit. I always wonder why more hardcore matches don't end like this, because it's like the referee can't stop you, so just hit him with the chair 30 times and then pin him, and that's what Austin did. It's so unique, and just their chemistry. This is their best match easily, and like I said, it's still my favorite match of all time. Jericho Triple H was just bore fest, unfortunately, and it wasn't their fault. It's the fact that The Rock and Hogan killed the crowd, because with that match, I mean, they literally just wore out the crowd, so there was nothing left for Jericho and Triple H. Plus, the buildup was terrible. When the buildup is a dog getting run over, and unfortunately Stephanie McMahon being all over the place, but not unfortunately her boobs flying out in her ass. That was pretty great.
That was fun.
But Jericho and Triple H isn't a bad match, but it's super boring, and I wouldn't want to watch it again. And Rock and Stone Cold, I've seen probably 50 times. It's so fucking great. So it gets my vote.
All right, I'll jump in there. WrestleMania 17. Not gonna lie, I got this. I don't know how corny this makes you sound, but I got goosebumps watching this match again. Really good. This was probably one of the bloodiest matches in WrestleMania main event history. There's some other bloody ones later on as we get, but they were fucking juicing. They were fucking really going at it. I really, speaking of the bleeding, did you notice? I noticed a lot of small things as I went back and watched these matches. The Rock dropped his blade. The Rock dropped. He had to bend down and grab it. That was pretty fun.
I remember that live.
Yeah, that was fun. I really like the throwback to a lot of the matches, like previous stuff, like where Rock had Austin the sharpshooter and the blood was pouring down, and they were referencing the Bret Hart match and stuff. And Austin used
they did the $1 Million Dream spot.
I was about to say he used the $1 Million Dream and stuff like that. It was a lot of cool stuff that they threw in. You could tell that they were throwing like everything in this. And the one thing that I think is not talked about as much that I really enjoyed, Paul Heyman.
Yes. Oh, I was gonna.
Yes.
So I was thinking about that earlier.
His
JR
commentary.
and Heyman are my favorite commentary
Holy
team
shit,
they've ever had.
They did
they're great.
Fucking. I think that was fucking one of the things that helped sell the match big time. Was Paul Heyman and JR was really fucking good.
Well, Ross said that at the time they hated each other. Like, they still had problems from the past, and he said he thinks that they got along so well on commentary is because they legitimately didn't like each other. So, like, they always had a bit of a rivalry when they're speaking. So, like, when Jim Ross is telling a hate, like, "Oh, shut up, Paul," you don't like, he meant it. He didn't like him. So now they're friends. Obviously, it all kind of boiled over. But it's goddamn, man. It was like JR was it was the best since, I think, like Gorilla Monsoon and Ventura. Because they did the heel and the face commentating thing, but without it feeling like it was forced. Because, like, Lawler was always a cartoon, but Heyman felt serious. He felt like a sleazy, scummy piece of shit.
Yeah.
And so, oh my God, you're right.
Which he is.
Unbelievable.
And
so good.
I actually forgot to mention that earlier. I forgot how fucking great Gorilla Monsoon was. He was fucking so good. I didn't mention that earlier in the matches he was in, but wow. But as for the WrestleMania 18 match, Triple H, oh my God, this is when he first was coming back. He fucking
Huge.
He looked like fucking, he was chiseled out of fucking God's fucking whatever. He looked fucking amazing. Talk about jacked up, juicing like a motherfucker, whatever it was. He looked fucking great. I think the actual psychology of the match was pretty good. Yeah, I agree that the crowd was dead from obviously Hogan and Rock, but I think they sold the Triple H's like leg the entire time. They did a really good job doing that. And Triple H hit a fucking really good pedigree on Stephanie. Stephanie took a pedigree better than a lot of the guys did. This match. I don't know if she always did, but
she had airbags.
that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, obviously, for me as well. WrestleMania 17, hands down. This is my favorite of the Rock Austin trilogy. So, Scott.
Rock Austin is the Hogan Andre of that era and will always be, and no one can dispute that. It had a great build because Stone Cold was obsessed with getting the title back. Remember, like he will do anything, and those seeds were planted going in.
Once they got rid of Deborah, then it kicked into high gear.
Like he was like, I need that title. I'll do anything to get that title, and people didn't realize how much he would do.
More than you can ever know.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was.
Yeah, I mean,
so
like
good.
he basically told us he was going to side with Vince McMahon.
Yep.
Like if you watch,
but no
like,
one would
said,
ever think that.
Yeah, I will do anything it takes. Like, he's telling you point blank, I am going to turn heel on you, and I'm going to join Vince.
Yeah,
because I need that belt. If I have to, I'll do it, and he did. 18. I was at that one, and you want to talk about the crowd? Holy fuck, that was insane in the Sky Dome. Hogan and Rock did kill us. We couldn't even chant anything after that. And poor Jazz, Trish, and Lita, and then poor Triple H and Jericho. Triple H and Jericho, I talked about Hogan doing the bad back against Slaughter. Triple H was doing the bad leg against Jericho, and it was just bland as hell because he couldn't walk around. Like even on offense, he's like, "Oh, I'm so hurt. Oh no, I'm hurt." Like it wasn't entertaining. Also, he was chiseled out of granite and couldn't move anyway because he still hadn't adapted to that yet. So that was also bad.
But he looked fucking good.
Steph looked good. Now, as far as main events, like Rock Austin was the pinnacle of the Attitude Era after all the matches like Angle and Benoit and the TLC and everything leading up. It was the perfect capstone, and people still call it the best ever. And rightfully so. Yeah, and Hogan Rock was the main event of 18. And I watched that DVD many times because it's fun. I was there. It was reminiscent. I turned it off after that. So Jericho Triple H is a non-factor for me, and I was at that one. So there you go.
All right. So Rock and Austin will advance, but Lee, who would you have picked for this one?
Rock Austin. You can't go against that match. That is an all-time fucking classic. It's one of the best single wrestling matches ever done in professional wrestling's history. Just hands down. I rewatched it for this just because, you know, I remember it like the back of my hand, but hey, I have an excuse to watch fucking Rock Austin at 17 again. Why not? And fuck, man, I love that fucking match. The Austin heel turn was very well done. The aftermath of said heel turn was absolute garbage.
Yeah.
But still, this was like a single shining moment of brilliance, and it was the capping of the Attitude Era. It died after that, but it was absolutely fucking great, and everyone was just firing on full cylinders on this one, including the commentary team, as you rightly pointed out, Bomber. Amazing fucking match. Chris Jericho versus Triple H was a wet fart of a match. It was not good. Triple H as a face has always been bad. I'm sorry. There's no way you can root for that man because he's just a fucking scumbag. He just oozes scum no matter what he does. And he's just a lame duck. And he was coming off his fucking injury with the quad and all that shit. And fucking... they still built the match around him doing fucking face busters on his knee and doing the high knee and shit like that. And the psychology was not good. I argue it was not good at all. And that match sucked. And Chris Jericho had the unfortunate position of being Triple H's bitch in the Attitude Era. And, yeah, fuck that match.
To talk about that, the whole build of that match wasn't Triple H wanting the title back. It was about Triple H getting one over Stephanie, who had sided with Jericho.
Yeah, it was Triple H versus Stephanie.
Like, no, it should have been it. It really should have been Triple H versus Austin, because that's the whole thing. We talked about that before.
That's what the rumored main event was going to be. I remember reading that they were going to set that up. That's why they had them team when Austin turned heel, and the idea was that, you know, eventually they were going to have Triple H turn face and face Austin at WrestleMania, which would have been pretty good, I imagine. Yeah, but then the alliance thing happened. Triple H got hurt, so plans, you know, backfired.
Yeah,
that would have been good because those guys were fucking great. That would have been.
They were great, and their match at No Way Out, their Three Stages of Hell, is another classic. God damn, it's a good fucking match.
Yep. All right, well, there we go. Rock Austin, WrestleMania 17 advances. We're going to go on now. WrestleMania 19, Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar. going up against WrestleMania 20, Triple H versus Shawn Michaels
versus Redacted.
Versus Stevie Richards.
Yeah, a.k.a. Chris Benoit versus Chris Benoit. So, yeah, this was what, the first triple threat match, right, for the WrestleMania, right? WrestleMania?
Yeah. Well, that's also for the world title. That's the first time the WWE title wasn't in the main event.
Yeah. Okay.
That was Guerrero and Angle.
All right. Well, I guess,
earlier in the card.
Well, I guess kick it off there, Scott. You're already going for it. Go for it.
Well, do we talk about the tragedy or do we talk about the shooting star's breast that looked bad?
He hung he killed his wife, smothered his child, stroked himself off, and then hung himself.
Yep.
So yeah, whatever.
Wait a minute. We don't know that for sure.
That match, I remember watching that. That was incredible. First submission win for the title of Mania, I think, or even in like.
Ooh. No, he was the first one. Yeah.
It was the first one. Yeah.
Good call.
It was amazing. No one thought Triple H would ever tap, let alone the Benoit. It was the Shawn Michaels Triple H story. They remade it with Daniel Bryan later. Angle Lesnar was great, but Angle literally shouldn't have been there because his neck was so bad. Mm-hmm. It was worse than Michael's back. Like, it was like, you should not be here. You might die. No, let me do it anyway. And they did. And then Lesnar shooting star pressed himself and doesn't remember any of it.
He shooting pressed himself.
Still, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Head. He could have died.
Yep.
And probably should have.
Imagine they both just die. Like, Lesnar comes down on his neck, and when Angle's moving, he like cracks his back the wrong way, and they both just instantly die in the ring.
They both have internal decapitation, and that's it.
Jesus.
But that is a legit thing. So when you think of that, maybe okay, that's crazy.
That would have been a WrestleMania moment right there.
yeah.
They had their WrestleMania moment.
They did, to death. Benoit, Triple H, Michaels is an awesome match. I like their rematch at Backlash at Edmonton a month later better, personally, when Benoit is champ. I think Benoit at the end of Mania with Guerrero, even though it's horrifically, tragically sad now, is a better moment. So I'm going with 20, personally. Okay. Angle, Lesnar can have better matches any day of the week. They just didn't here. So.
All right. I guess I'll jump in again. I like how WrestleMania 19, ironically, Kurt took Brock Lesnar to Suplex City. He suplexed the absolute fuck out of Brock Lesnar, including a complete, like, he went for a German and Brock completely just flipped backwards over, which was fucking amazing to look at, but kind of unrealistic when you think about it. But it looked fucking great. Their match was technically, I mean, it was good. There was a lot of suplexes, obviously. There was the first time, well, I don't know if it was true or not, but the commentators said it. When Lesnar kicked out of the Angle Slam, they said that was the first person ever to kick out of the Angle Slam. And when Angle kicked out of the F5, they said that was the first person ever to kick out of the F5. I don't know if that's true or not. I can't recall. I don't know. But
I'm guessing
that
not.
Period probably for Lesnar, I could see, because he was only there since summer of 2002. Like, he was there for a year at that point, and he beat like Van Damme and Big Show and all these guys, The Rock. It's probably accurate for him.
Yeah, I mean, that made it feel like a bigger deal, so that's kind of cool.
I feel like Rock kicked out of it though, because when they had their title match, when Rock fought Angle right before WrestleMania 17, I think Rock kicked out of it. Like I kind of think that's a bullshit statement.
Yeah, but they definitely said it. Yeah, if you go back and watch, they definitely said it.
Not the first time, but yeah.
But anyway, match was okay. This is one of the matches that I thought was amazing, but went back, and it actually was more of a letdown when I went back and watched it. Again, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as I thought it was. And going into WrestleMania 20, I vividly remember this match because I have my Triple H. I don't know if anybody knows this or not. Triple H is my all-time favorite wrestler, and surprise, surprise. And this was a point where I watched every single bit of wrestling I ever could at this point. And I was so devastated, literally devastated, when Triple H tapped out. I vividly remember, and I always remember the image of him. Like, I can paint a picture probably from scratch of him tapping out, and
with Michaels reaching at the same time.
Yeah, it was a good match. It was a good match. There was a lot of chops. I didn't remember how many chops there were. If you go back and watch, there's a shitload of chops.
There was enough to cave in both of their fucking chests.
Yes,
it was just.
Yeah, this kind of reminded me, I don't know, it was just a really good match. And the ending obviously was very emotional, even though obviously it kind of sucks to talk about because of Benoit. But when Eddie came out It was just really emotional, and it was a feeling that I got going back and watching it that I don't really remember having that feeling for like a long time. But yeah, it's obviously weird to talk about, but WrestleMania 20 is my pick. I'm gonna go with that one over WrestleMania 19. How about Lee? How about you go for it?
This is the exception to the rule I put down that multi-man matches for WrestleMania Main Event is a bad idea. This is probably the single best three-way match I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen a lot of them. I was a major Chris Benoit fan, and I'm still a fan of his work. I can actually force myself to watch his matches even to this day and still be in awe of the worker he was at the very least.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, he was good. Appreciate his work. That's a good way.
And seeing this match when I saw it the first time legit gave me chills. Seeing Chris Benoit actually get his big moment, it was fucking amazing. Especially when you saw he was in the match with two big fucking egomaniacs who had a hard time putting anybody over. This was an amazing fucking match, man. And, I mean, you had three workers. Triple H had gotten better at this point, where he was back to sort of his old self to a certain degree, doing pretty good. Shawn Michaels was in his sort of career renaissance, coming back from those back injuries and all that shit, and just putting on amazing matches. And Chris Benoit was the right guy to have in the middle of this, just carrying them both. And I love this fucking match, man, and I love the moment with Eddie. It's sad that it ended in tragedy soon afterwards for both of them, and Chris Benoit's title reign was really a wet fart after this.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, I didn't expect it to last long because he was never a talker, and that was the kind of thing that was never going to put him over to the next level. Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar was an excellent match. They worked very well together. I think you can argue that this was a match that made Brock Lesnar really legit, just really fucking legit. But at the same time, he almost killed himself in this match doing rookie bullshit. But fuck, man, Kurt Angle. Most people have one bump card in their career, and they fill it over a period of 10, 20 years. He was on his fifth bump card at this point, I think, in his career. And and he was doing it, making Brock look like a mega star. So I got to give kudos to that, but at the same time, I still have to go with the triple threat because that was just a beautiful, brief, shining moment of perfection once again for WWF. So it was great.
Okay. Yeah. So Matt, who are you picking for this one?
Yeah, WrestleMania 20. That's probably one of my top 5 favorite WrestleMania main events of all time. Just told a great story. I loved how one of the main reasons that Triple H lost the title is because he was only focusing on his hatred of Shawn Michaels, and he completely overlooked Chris Benoit, who essentially just came right on in then and beat his ass like that. I love that story. And then, even when they had the rematch, Triple H was still overlooking Benoit before Michaels, and that's what's cool is that. And after that, they went on and they had even more matches with each other and whatnot. But Angle and Lesnar's fine. I think it's a really good, solid main event, but the only thing I ever really remembered from it is Brock almost breaking his neck doing a stupid move he never should have done. Now, had he hit it, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, that would have been fucking phenomenal, yeah.
And there's OVW footage of him hitting it. It looks great.
Yeah,
perfectly, yeah.
But he never did it after a 30-minute match, though, so that's where he fucked up.
Yeah.
But just, there's not really too much to say. Just Triple H, Benoit, Michaels was spectacular, and when Benoit tapped out Triple H, I just remember I was cheering, because I was fully behind Benoit at that time, and too bad nothing really came of it. But Benoit, that was Benoit's one shining moment, and then it was lights out.
For everybody in his immediate family.
And the worst. Now the thing to remember with all that too is he just jumped to Raw for the title shot. He should have been going after Lesnar with his title at 20.
That's true, yeah.
They had different plans for that. Goldberg.
That's okay, though. It was cool that they got to choose where they wanted to go when they won the Rumble.
Yeah,
I like that.
I still wanted the closure with Lesnar, but we ended up getting an amazing match. So.
And I think that's going to make for an interesting round, too. That match is going to go up against The Rock versus Stone Cold, so that's going to be fun. But anyway, moving on, we got WrestleMania 21, Triple H versus Bautista going up against WrestleMania 22, John Cena versus Triple H. How about Scott? You start this one out.
21 is one of my favorite Manias, but I think Triple H Batista at the end was the wrong call and kind of farted on the whole thing. It should have been Cena JBL, even though that wouldn't have been that great. I didn't like it much. Cena Triple H was also not all that great of a match either, but I just like it better. Batista's big win was cool. Cena's retaining was cool, but again, neither of these really stand out for me as awesome matches or moments, even though they are big ones. But I like the Cena Triple H atmosphere a bit better, so I'm going to go with that one, I think, just because I did not care for the Batista match or any of his matches with Triple H that whole summer. I didn't care for any of it. So,
all right. How about Lee? How about you go for it?
I'm going to go Cena Triple H as well. This was sort of, I thought it was pretty decent of a match. Triple H carried Cena fairly well, and this was kind of a seasoning match for Cena. Like, it's, kind of, hey, introduction into the main event, making you the next big star kind of thing. So in that respect, it sort of worked. John Cena did what he had to do. Triple H did what he had to do. It wasn't a great match, but it was decent enough. Triple H Batista, not good. I think in that match actually hurt Batista to a certain degree, because I think Triple H kind of exposed him, because Triple H just had way too much offense in that fucking match, where it should have been Batista just kind of steamrolling him as a combination of that whole storyline. And I'll say this for Batista, he was still pretty green then, but he did improve a lot in subsequent matches and subsequent years.
I agree with that.
Like, he had some amazing fucking matches with The Undertaker after this. And I'm actually quite a Batista fan. But yeah, this wasn't good. It was too early, and it was the wrong guy winning as far as that goes. They should have held back on Batista just a little bit more. Give him his big win on Triple H maybe a year down the road or something like that. But then again, I guess they were kind of thinking that Batista was really old getting into the game, so they wanted to get as much out of him as they could. So they had
the crowd was big into him. Don't forget, they
true.
struck while it was right for that. If you want to talk that, but
yeah, it's true. But John Cena Triple H is probably the better match and probably does more for the company overall when you think about it history-wise. So I'd go that way.
All right. Well, Matt Zion, let's hear it.
Yeah, Cena Triple H, just because I don't know, they're both not great matches to me, but I think Cena Triple H was just a better worked match. The only thing I remember from Triple H and Batista is hoping to God that Batista wouldn't fuck up the powerbomb on Triple H.
Yeah.
Because he was screwing him up in the build-up. He was messing him up for whatever reason. And so I just remember going like, "Come on, Dave, hit the powerbomb." And when he hit it, I was like, "Oh, there we go. Okay, everything's fine." Anyway, but it's telling to see that they pretty much went with Cena after this. Like they were testing the waters with Batista, and he was still a big player. But they definitely after this they just went full Cena. That was that. It was like, this is now the John Cena show, and they did the same exact thing they did with Batista. By giving him the rub with Triple H, they just reversed it and did it for Cena the following year.
And don't forget, they had the draft not long after, and they traded brands, so Cena was the Raw champion with the WWE
they
title.
Literally just traded. They traded it.
They put him over on SmackDown. You're the B champion.
All right. Well, so that means 22 is going to win. So I was going to pick 22 as well. So I'll talk about that match more later on. But to brush on the Triple H and Batista match, I think we just have to point out how fucking horrible Motorhead was.
Leading
so bad. And I love the song. I love Motorhead, but man, that was so fucking terrible. So shitty.
Lemmy must have been in the green room in the back getting fucked up.
He was doing something.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, more so than usual. He was having a night, man.
I don't know if you guys mentioned or not, whether or not you liked it or not, but I really like the build-up to the Triple H Batista match. The whole.
Oh no, I loved it. I thought it was a great story.
Yeah, I love the whole like the thumbs up, thumbs down. That became like a very visual thing. It ended up being his thing like later on down the road. Like you'd always do the thumbs up, thumbs down thing.
Right.
And I don't know why I'm always drawn to blade jobs, but I am for some reason. Maybe because I'm a CZW fan. Anyway, there was a botch here. I considered a botch where Triple H was getting slingshotted into the steel post, and he bladed too fucking early. I don't know if you realize that. And by the time he hit the post, you could already see the blood. You saw a flash of the blood already on his face before he hit it. So that was kind of a botch.
It was the force of the close. It was the force of the Irish whip into the fucking turnbuckle that opened his head.
Yeah, there you go.
Batista threw him so hard he bled in the air.
Yep,
that's right. It was the demon whip into the fucking turnbuckle.
Yeah, I do have a lot of talk about with 22, but since it advanced, we'll brush on it on the next in the next round. So let's move on. Let's go to WrestleMania 23, John Cena versus Shawn Michaels versus WrestleMania 24, Edge versus The Undertaker. How about Lee starts this one off?
This one's a bit tougher, man.
It is.
John Cena versus Shawn Michaels is Cena's best match up to that point, thanks to HBK. HBK, this is where he was getting his Mr. WrestleMania thing going. Well, maybe they weren't announcing it, but this was, him, his career renaissance, just putting people over and putting on great matches and shit on WrestleMania. And this was an amazing fucking match. Shawn Michaels bumped like a motherfucker for Cena in this, and it was a great match. Edge versus Undertaker. I've never been a big Edge fan. I've just never thought his offense ever looked legit to me, where I could buy into it. But man, they had a great match here. Undertaker just worked with Edge just really well. Like, there was just some sort of really good chemistry between these two. They had a lot of really hot near falls. And this is where Taker was, you could start to see him really up in his fucking game for WrestleManias, where he was becoming like the premier fucking WrestleMania worker, where you were looking forward to his matches on WrestleMania. And man, I gotta give a very slight nod to Edge versus Undertaker on this one.
Wow.
I just like the match. I just like the match better. I like the near falls better. I liked the way they worked together better. I just think it was two better workers in that match compared to John Cena versus Shawn Michaels. And not to throw any shade on John Cena, because I think he was doing really well for himself, but he just wasn't quite up to Edge's level as far as a full, complete worker at that point. And yeah, I have to go for that. Edge Undertaker.
Okay. I'll go next. I agree with you 100%. I think this is one of John Cena's best matches. Even, like, I would put it up there close to his matches with AJ that he's been having lately. This was a really good match, and I was completely wrong going into this match. I remembered it not being good for some reason. I don't remember why, because when I came up to it, as I was going down the list, I was like, fuck, now I gotta watch this match again. This wasn't very good. I was dead wrong. This was a good fucking match. The crowd wasn't going as crazy as it was for, like, Cena versus Triple H, but the match was really good. Like, just, there's not that much else to say about it. It was a good fucking solid match. Cena did a great job. Shawn Michaels did a fucking great job. They both fucking laid down the fucking law, man. It was a good match. I liked it a lot. And then we had WrestleMania 24, and you know what? Funny thing, I'm also kind of lukewarm about Edge as well. I appreciate everything he's done. I've liked some stuff, flashes of stuff, but I've never really been 100% behind Edge for some reason. I don't know why. He had a good look, but I don't know. But this match, wow, the crowd, I don't know if you realize, the crowd was pretty much dead for the whole first half of this match. They didn't, it seemed like they didn't give a fuck about the first half of this match. They definitely picked it up near the end, but the first half, they didn't give a shit. And I think Edge, I don't know if you remember or not, he took a really fucking sick bump. He went to the top rope, and Taker just came and shoved him off, and he flipped off the top rope down to the outside on the ground. It looked like he just fucking shattered his hip when he fucking slammed on the ground. That looked great. That's what led up to Taker, like, diving on the outside to him. And they had a really good sequence there at the end, with the whole the Ryder and Hawkins coming out, Taker kicking out of a spear, Edge hitting a second spear. Then he got caught in the Hell's Gate right after that. The whole ending of the match was fucking a really good sequence. So, yeah, I agree with you. This is a really fucking tight match here between these two matches. But when I went back and watched them, I got to pick one. And I'm going to pick WrestleMania 23, Shawn Michaels and John Cena I'm gonna pick.
Damn Triple H getting in there again.
Yeah, damn Triple H. No. Again, both matches toss up to me, but both matches really good. I like both of them. Going to 23 here. Scott, what do you got?
Cena and Michaels was great, but I do like their rematch in England better. That hour-long one on Raw, like a month or so later.
Oh yeah,
that one overshadows this one for me completely. I honestly liked Undertaker and Batista better. You alluded to that one. That title match on the same card was amazing. Edge and Undertaker was an awesome payoff to him cashing in Money in the Bank like a year and a half before. And Edge was always this opportunist character. His offense wasn't that great, agreed. But he would find a way to win. And Taker had been around so long, he had multiple ways to win. And he kept getting countered like no one before. I remember that even being part of the call. That was awesome. It was just neat to see him constantly finding ways out to survive. Not beat, but survive, and then start to beat him and counter it and go from there. I got to go with Edge versus Undertaker for that reason. And this, like you said, was part of his string of great matches. For me, it started with Orton at 21. You can skip 22's casket match, but they were good ever since.
Yeah.
And it's just another one of those. But the other thing to mention, too, is the crowd, like you said, was dead for half of it. They worked their asses off to bring them back into it.
Yeah,
And
it says a lot.
I like that part as well. I got to go with that one. I think it was better.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, before Matt Zahn goes, I had one question that I forgot to ask here. Why the fuck was Coach on commentary? Does anybody know for the guy who said Triple H match again?
They were grooming him to be one of the announcers.
Is that what they were doing?
They were grooming him for it. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. So yeah, that was awkward. Anyway,
that was a thing.
Matt Zahn, go for it.
Edge and Undertaker, I never really cared for it too much.
Oh shit.
I don't remember. I don't have fond memories of it really. And Cena, Michaels was the wrong main event because Batista and Undertaker was unbelievable. Like that's easily Batista's best match ever.
Yeah.
And I was always confused as to why they went with Cena and Michaels at the end. I didn't get that.
The other thing is Triple H was injured and Michaels filled in. Michaels has said that.
Yeah, this was supposed to be Cena and Triple H too. Well, the reason why it was going to be that though is because Cena and Triple H up to this point was the highest grossing WrestleMania of all time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even though seeing it again, I had no interest in. Michaels was more interesting, but there you go.
Yeah, but that was the reason they did such a huge number that they were like, okay, well we're going to do it again. But like John Cena and Shawn Michaels is at least like a really good match. I don't know. Edge and Taker just bores me. I didn't even like the finish that much. Maybe it was because I knew there was no chance in hell that Edge was going to beat the Undertaker.
Streak versus streak.
And they didn't really. Well, it wasn't actually streak versus streak because they were dumb. And the WrestleMania 23, the previous year, they had Edge get taken out of the ladder match.
Yep. And I remember, but he tried to even say it was streak versus streak. Yeah. I remember the promos. Yeah, but they fucked it up.
It's so dumb because like, why did they even put him in the ladder match? And they were like, oh well, he got carried out because he had that big Jeff Hardy did that big move to him, so he didn't lose. So he was in the match and
lost.
He didn't win.
Yeah,
so he lost.
He was 5-0 at that point. So yeah, they screwed over the streak, especially knowing it was going to go here. But
yeah, right. And so that was really fucking stupid.
Yeah,
protected Edge a little better, but Cena Michaels is just the better match in my opinion. So I'm gonna vote for that.
Just admit it. You thought Cena was way more vascular. God damn it.
So there we go. That's a tie, folks. That's a tie.
All right.
Let's flip
it. It's a tie that I have no problem with either.
All right, Lee.
Okay, I'm gonna call Hids.
It is tails.
All right. So wait. So
Cena Michaels then.
Cena Michaels.
And that's fine.
Yeah, I mean I think we all pretty much agree. It was
I can live with it. Both of these were excellent matches. So
I mean it's no Lawrence Taylor Bam Bam Bigelow, but you know
nothing.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, I love
nothing
it.
is.
God.
We're so fucking hated. Okay. Anyway, moving on. We're going to WrestleMania 25. Triple H versus Randy Orton going up against. Going.
I'm so sorry. Hold on.
Vomit alert.
Is that what we call in the business foreshadowing?
Yep.
Let me just get into this fucking thing.
Draws.
Triple H versus Randy Orton is the worst WrestleMania main event of all time. And I know that Miz and Cena is one that people say, but Triple H and Randy Orton had a shit build-up. It should never have taken place. These guys had fought a million times before, and they had so many other cool options that they could have gone with, and it's like, god damn, man, it just the match was, the psychology was shit, because the whole build up here was Triple H wants to kill Randy Orton. He's destroyed the McMahon family. He fucking kissed Triple H's wife. Like, this guy is an asshole, and Triple H is gonna beat his ass. And then they're like, but if you get DQ'd, you lose. Oh god, what a fucking nightmare. And then they start the match off with finishers, and the crowd's like, what? And then like they go from hitting finishers, and you think, okay, well, this is just gonna be a brawl. They're just gonna go, and no, it just becomes, after the finishers, just gonna be a regular match. Super boring. They don't really do anything. I don't remember a single spot that mattered, and it just ended. And that was that. It was fucking crap. Oh, man, so bad.
So I assume you're picking 26.
Yeah, Undertaker Michaels is one of the best wrestle. Well, I'm sorry, that was the other WrestleMania 25 match. It was one of the best rematches, I guess. The problem with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, the second time, was that I legitimately didn't know that Michaels was going to lose. So that was cool, but the crowd didn't really care too much. They didn't really capture the magic that they did in WrestleMania 25, because that was way better. I mean, WrestleMania 25's match is probably, again, one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. This one was fine. I think it's only going to get a win here just because Triple H and Orton is garbage. It's so fucking just mind-boggling bad. All they had to do to make Triple H and Orton good was make it a no DQ match and have Triple H and Orton go out there and beat the crap out of each other, and that's it. It would have been fine, but man, they booked this thing into oblivion. It was bad.
All right, well, there you go. You sound very passionate about that one. Let's go to Scott.
Everything that we've been saying about Randy Orton being in the Mania main event for the past 2 months, which is your fault, Bomber, is totally what we were saying about it then in 2010? Was it? Like, damn near 10 years ago.
Never been a good main event.
It's easily the weakest main event, let alone for the 25th anniversary, which is what they were calling it. It was actually just 25. It was the 24th anniversary. It was such a weak event that nobody wanted. Every other match below it seemed better. Obviously, the women's match wouldn't have been a main event, but you know what I mean. Like, it's like, why is that the main event? What the hell is this doing here? And yet, Undertaker Michaels turned out to be amazing. And then the rematch, I don't like it as much because Taker's leg got hurt early, and he had a wounded leg for that, so maybe Michaels could win, but it's not the same. And I get it. I have a thing with that. So, but it was still a way fucking better match. Like, honestly, anything would beat that as far as I'm concerned. Triple H Orton was dog shit then, and we'd seen it a bajillion times, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it then. Michaels and Undertaker was legit. You didn't know which would win, because if anybody could beat the streak, maybe it was Michaels. Maybe it was Michaels when it really counts. Like, people legitimately thought Michaels had a chance at this. I remember that. And that's all you need. Just get him to bite once and you're good. And they had him twice over 2 years. And it still was shocking when he won. And yeah, it was the culmination. Well, it was part 2 of the epic Michaels retired flair. And then Triple H is going to want revenge for retiring Michaels. And it was like a 5-year thing. It was crazy good. So, yeah.
Okay. I'll go next. I think this is a bold statement I'm about to make, but I think the Streak versus Career, the WrestleMania 26 match, I think that was the best last ride Undertaker ever hit. That he hit it last ride on Shawn Michaels in that, and I also think that's the best tombstone pile driver that he ever hit to finish Michaels off. That's a bold statement.
There's only one that's better.
Oh God.
When he gave Shane McMahon the jumping tombstone during the Survivor Series elimination match.
With no hands?
Yeah, with no hands. That was spectacular.
Yeah.
I didn't like the no hands, but otherwise, yes.
I mean, I just like the fact that he was basically like saying, "I don't give a fuck about this guy's life."
Because I don't.
But yeah, the WrestleMania 25, the RKO pedigree off the top, right off the bat, that was just weird. I don't know if they were just trying to like, all right, we're gonna make a statement. We gotta spice this up. I don't know what the fuck they were doing there, but it was bad. The crowd obviously didn't give a shit. I didn't like at all the whole Triple H losing the title for DQ, all that crap. But here's one thing that I did note, that you guys, if you didn't see it, you need to go back and watch it. I think it's about midway, maybe late into the match. Orton has Triple H's leg. Triple H is on the ground, and he stomps on his like stomach or chest. And Triple H, like, just you can see him. He spits like a loogie up, like as he gets stomped on into the air. And you're like, oh, where the fuck did that go? Orton turns around and looks like somebody just fucking jizzed on his back. There is a huge fucking loogie on Orton's back.
That's better. That's a better match now.
Yeah, that was just a funny little tidbit I saw when I was rewatching it. That was fucking hilarious. But
so you were watching porn, is what you were watching.
Maybe I was watching the wrong.
Can't pay me to go back and watch that match.
Well, there you go. It's near the end, but anyway, yeah, 26, easy choice here. I'm going with that.
Dude, the undercard title matches on 26 were Batista and Cena. That was better than Triple H and Orton.
Yeah. It was an easy pick here. 26 for me. Who didn't go? Lee, did you go yet?
No.
All right, go for it.
Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, without a doubt. I mean, it was not as good as their previous match, but it was still pretty much a classic, at the very least compared to Triple H versus Randy Orton. Randy Orton was, man, they really fucking just killed him and squandered him in this period. Any potential he had was kind of ruined well before this match anyways, but they really fucking put the final nail in the coffin on Randy Orton in this one, and that match just sucked ass. Let's move on and not even talk about it again.
All right, let's do it. WrestleMania 27, The Miz versus John Cena, going up against WrestleMania 28, The Rock versus John Cena. I guess I haven't started one off for a while, so I guess I'll start this match off. Okay, I think if you listen to us already, you know that I am not a Miz fan, and this is a perfect example why. He didn't seem credible at all in this match to me. This is my opinion. Cena looked like he outclassed him in every way, as far as he just looked like he didn't look like he was in the same league as Cena. I don't know. And the bad thing about this match overall was just in the end, it was nothing but a fucking stepping stone going up to WrestleMania 28, which kind of just makes the whole thing a fucking joke. Even at the end, like, because The Rock came out, obviously there was double count out, Rock came out, got the match restarted, so Miz and Cena go back in the ring, Rock hits Cena with a rock bottom, setting up next year, and then Miz gets the win, but then as the show's ending, before it even ended, The Rock was all the focus. The Miz won, holding up the title, the camera's on The Rock the whole fucking time. It's like, okay, this is obvious. Nobody gives a fuck about The Miz. This is very obvious. And then The Rock jumps in, Rock bottoms him. The Rock ends the show. Even though The Miz won the main event at WrestleMania, defending the title, The Rock ends the show with his music, him celebrate. It was a complete joke. Miz, obviously, at this point in time, he's getting there now. I'm not going to lie. He's building himself up now. But at this point, nowhere near where he should have been, in my opinion. That's my opinion. WrestleMania 28, once in a lifetime, of course. Everybody knows how that went. I don't know, man. Dude, the crowd was fucking jacked for this match. It helped you get into it, and it sucks that The Rock got hurt like almost midway through, because you could see he was going at a pretty good level, like a high level with The Rock. But I don't know. The funny thing to me was all the chants. There was "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants, and The Rock's out there. There was more "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chants than there were Rocky chants or Rock chants. To me, that was kind of interesting to see.
There were more Cena fans there than Rock fans. Rock was the nostalgia act. He was just still new.
Yeah, I mean, well, just to me though, I mean, it's the fucking Rock, so you thought it would be a little 50-50 at least. But either way,
that's probably what they were thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole lot of talking just for me to say. Super fucking easy. WrestleMania 28, Rock versus Cena, easy win for me. Matt Zion, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, Miz versus Cena is the second worst WrestleMania main event of all
to me, it's number one for me. But hey,
yeah, I still think it's.
I'm a little biased.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it doesn't matter. But I mean, I remember loving that the package they did for the Miz before it came out, and like
I was gonna say that. Yeah,
I had no hype going into this match. Like I was like indifferent to it, but then when they played that package for Cena and Miz, I was like, oh, okay, fuck yeah, here we go. Like it got me into that WrestleMania main event mindset, and I'm like, this might be good. Maybe this is gonna be something, and it was dog shit. It wasn't just because Miz got a concussion. I know that impacted the match greatly. There's a moment where Cena gives him a clothesline. He's on the barrier, and he fell down. And he hit his head directly on the concrete, and he doesn't remember any of the match. So that didn't help. You can even tell it's pretty scary because it's the WrestleMania. Like if it had been any other match, they would have easily just stopped it. But because it was WrestleMania main event, Cena's like trying to pick Miz up, and Miz is just gone. He's not there anymore. But this should have been Punk versus Cena. It still baffles me that they went with Miz over Punk because Punk was the hottest heel they had going right then. He had the Straight Edge Society. He was super over. Everybody hated him, and they didn't pick him for whatever reason. And from what I've heard, I guess it was Cena's decision. Cena's the one that handpicked Miz because they basically came to Cena and were like, it doesn't matter who you face because we're building towards Rock. Pick who you want, and he picked Miz. Rock and Cena was a letdown. It wasn't terrible, but it didn't live up to the hype because I was pretty fucking hyped going into this one. I was like, this is a dream match for me at the time.
Yep.
But it just Rock gassed out real quick. I mean, they started going, and you could tell it was apparent Rock was not in condition to be wrestling, and he just kind of lumbered around. And ironically enough, he got hurt on this pay-per-view and on 29. So it's like dude's doing roids like crazy, I guess. But it's still fun crowd reaction. The crowd was totally into it. I still think the wrong person won. Rock should never have beat John Cena. That was just bullshit for them to get the rematch going. But like, part-timers coming in and beating your main guy is dumb. Because it just hurts the business overall. Like Cena was the guy that was selling merchandise. He was carrying the company. Most people were watching WWE for him. And you had The Rock come in, tell Cena that he was a fucking loser, and he proved it and beat him and made him look like a joke. And I always hated that. I hated that finish. It just didn't make any sense to me at all. But it's a way better match. Obviously, it's just Miz and Cena is almost borderline dog shit. So,
all right, Lee.
Yeah, John Cena Rock. I mean, fuck. Poor Miz. I mean, he didn't stand a chance. He'll go down as like one of the few people, in WrestleMania who won and yet just totally lost. Like, totally fucking lost. And it was just a setup for the next fucking WrestleMania, and he was the sacrificial victim on the altar for that. John Cena Rock, I think it delivered as far as for what you could expect from those two, especially with The Rock being off of the fucking working schedule for so many years. I think Rock actually looked really good for being as rusty and just not been working for however fucking long it was at that point.
I agree with that.
I think he did pretty well. I mean, he lasted the whole 30 minutes, even if he was blowing up. He still did it. So, I mean, while hurt. So, I mean, fuck it. I agree with Matt. It was the wrong decision to put The Rock over. They should have had better plans for the next WrestleMania, but decided they wanted to repeat. So, which means they had no plans for the next WrestleMania. They just, hey, we need you back, Rock. You want to be a Band-Aid again for the next WrestleMania? All right.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, isn't this the one that's the most the highest revenue WrestleMania of all time still?
I think so.
Oh,
that's the thing. That's the thing. They justify it with the high revenue, even though even if attendance is down and ticket prices are up like 1,000,000%. That's they find some way to justify that shit. So whatever.
And the following one did 1 million buys also though, Rock and Cena's rematch. So I mean, you can't. Even though we didn't like it, it made sense for them because why not do it again?
Yeah, well, it's all about the money for them. It's not about actually booking.
Yeah, having good product.
Yeah. But yeah, Rock Cena you have to go with default. So there you go.
All right, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, what Matt said about The Miz, the build-up for that match was bad, but the moment they got to that pre-match promo where he's looking at all the TVs, and I'm like, oh, this is real now. This is awesome. And then it was a big fart. Rock and Cena was kind of the Hogan Rock of before, and yet Rock won this one. The wrong guy won. Like, it didn't make sense. Cena should have won that. But you mentioned, like, it was a Band-Aid. The whole plan was Rock hosts, Rock versus Cena, Rock wins, and then Rock versus Cena, Cena wins. But it's for the title, so it's bigger stakes. That was the plan when he came back in the first place. He said that.
That's a 3-year plan.
So, like, yes, that was their plan going through. The problem with that is anything you organically or accidentally develop in those 3 years, like CM Punk, is not in that, and
Yeah.
you end up having your own company and guys bust their ass and make a breakthrough, not work.
Well, we got to see Punk versus Rock at the Rumble, and that that wasn't that. I mean,
Yeah,
It wasn't
it was
very good at
fun.
all.
It was fun, but
I was
mean,
there
Rock.
for that one live.
Yeah, you were.
oh,
Yeah,
were you? Okay.
Rock and Cena is the last real dream match we've gotten because they don't want to give us those anymore. They want to do ones like Undertaker and Reigns instead of all these variations of Undertaker or Reigns. It's not a dream match, but it's the yard fight. We don't get dream matches. We just don't get dream matches like that anymore. And this was the last one. It's better than Miz and Cena. There's no way to dwell on that any further. Miz got shafted on, but the heel champion, again, he shouldn't have won, but everyone was like, well, of course Cena's going to win. So at least they changed that up, but it didn't matter. It was the Rock Trilogy of Manias Part 1. So Part 2 was better because he actually did something in it.
All right, well, here we go. So Rock versus Cena wins. We're going to go to the next match, WrestleMania 29, Rock versus Cena, Part 2, I guess. And WrestleMania 30, Randy Orton versus Batista versus Daniel Bryan. Scott, since you were just talking, how about you just roll right into this one?
Sure, Rock Cena for the title should have been Cena Punk for the title. Everybody knows that, even though Cena or Punk and Taker was actually really good. He didn't want it, and he was on his way out. Orton and Batista would have been a worse main event than Triple H and Orton. I remember, Matt, we talked about that when it was building. We're like, what the hell is this?
Awful.
This is insane. What are they doing? When Batista won that Rumble, it was like, are you crazy people? What is going on? I predicted before it was announced that Bryan would face Triple H, and if he won, he'd go to Mania in the title match. If he lost, he'd retire. I almost got it right. They actually tweaked it to make it a triple threat with Triple H. Okay, that would be dumb. Daniel Bryan winning at the end is the coolest Mania moment since Benoit for me. It's very similar. They redid it.
Yep.
Being at 30, which was weird in New Orleans. I always thought they'd always have the 10s at Madison Square Garden, but it worked. Holding the two belts, the yes chants, he was the hottest thing going. They struck, despite everything they claim it was planned. It wasn't. He was the most organically grown thing they've ever had. Bryan winning trumps it, so 30.
Okay. I guess I'll go real quick, and I'm gonna. Okay, let's
Oh
get
man,
ready.
it's clear you're obviously going to pick The Rock versus John Cena.
Let's get ready.
But your hatred is gonna cloud you.
All right, let's get ready to piss some people off. First of all, the buzz just wasn't into WrestleMania 29 as much as it was. You could just tell the energy.
Twice in a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. Like the energy was just down. The Rock got injured again, even worse apparently. If you listen to the commentary again, I always as I go through these, I pay a lot of attention to the commentary, and they were so soft spoken throughout the entire match. They never got hyped up and like pumped up and stuff. They were just so soft spoken. If you just go back and listen to it, it's like, what the fuck, guys? This is fucking the main event of WrestleMania. Fucking get into it. I mean, it just helped throw it all off. It just didn't work as good. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't as good as their first match. And it may have been because The Rock got hurt even worse. I don't know, but something about it just didn't click on all the little cylinders that they needed, so it was okay. WrestleMania 30, good match. WrestleMania 30 obviously is going to be the pick for me, but here's what I'm about to say that's going to make people a little mad. I think Randy Orton was the MVP of this match.
No.
Yeah,
What?
Yep. No, I know what you're thinking. No,
When he RKO'd onto the TV?
No, that hurt. That was bad. That had to fucking hurt.
We accept your resignation from Jobber Radio.
No,
I will take over
future
because
endeavors.
we can't have crazy people on here.
No, motherfucker, listen. Hey, I'm the only no. Okay. Listen.
Why?
Here it is. Here's why. Randy Orton came out, out of the three, he had this aura about him in this match. He doesn't always have this, obviously. He had this aura about him in this match. I could just feel it. He was overly confident. He looked like the champion. He felt like the champion. When you watched him, I don't know how to fully describe it, but when he would do a move and he would just look out into the crowd, you could just feel. Go back and watch. I'm not kidding. Go back if you didn't.
Wait, Bomber. Does God talk to you?
I don't know. Hey, now listen.
Do you
hear voices in your head?
Do you just know it? You hear voices in your head?
Sometimes I do.
They talk to you. You understand.
But
they talk to you.
But yeah.
They talk to you.
God damn it, you guys ruin it for me here. I'm going for my big moment.
Anything you can do to downplay Daniel Bryan, that is your passion.
I'm not going to downplay Daniel Bryan at all.
You hate him.
You have
so
an agenda.
Much.
You're a monster.
God damn, man, you fucking loathe him.
I don't. Listen. Bryan, Batista both played their part really well. I love what they did with Bryan in this match. He wasn't just the underdog, because obviously he's a huge underdog coming in. They also had him the underdog and selling the shoulder injury. Triple H, Stephanie came out. They had the sledgehammer involved. Like, they didn't just have him the underdog. They fucking buried him. Like, no way. A powerbomb into an RKO. Are you fucking kidding me? They destroyed Bryan, and he still came out on top. And I think they used him very well, but something about Randy Orton in this match, if you didn't watch it and go back and watch it, you need to. Anybody
Look
listening?
how oily he is. You were jerking off.
No. Go back and watch it. Watch Orton. He is different in this match than he has been before and after. He's different.
I get what you're saying, but just because he has the aura of a champion doesn't make the match. Like,
No.
What?
No. That's
I can't even repeat it back. I don't understand.
I don't know how to
He
describe
looked like
it.
a champion.
No,
Is that really what you're saying?
He came off. I don't know how. It's hard to describe.
You came off is right.
No, he came off so much. Man, I don't know. I'll think about a way to describe it when it goes to the next round.
Let's move on from crazy talk and get to people
All
that
right,
are going to.
who's next? Lee, have you went?
Me now, because you
Okay,
are so fucking wrong.
All right, Matt Zondo.
Orton and Batista were literally just placeholders, and they did fine for what they needed to do.
I disagree.
But there was nothing special about either of them, and that's why if it had been them, it would have been a disaster, and that's why Bryan saved their WrestleMania. God, that would have been unbelievable. I can't even imagine the thinking that went into that. We've talked about it a lot. Well, I mean, Orton just looked like Orton.
No. Did you go back and watch the match? Did you go back and watch it?
I've seen that match like 20 times.
I know.
And I've never once thought that Orton was impressively above everybody else. I don't know.
Or
Bryan
more than Orton
just looked... Yeah, I mean, if anything, the match kind of it was kind of like lackluster for the first half because the crowd was, dead because Undertaker's loss kind of took it out of them. But halfway through, though, they came right back. I would say when they did the RKO powerbomb thing through the announce table, that woke people back up quite a bit. But no, man, Orton was just Orton, and Batista was just Batista, and Bryan looked like a fucking superstar out there with them. And it's too bad that it didn't work out or anything. But Rock Cena was just generic. It was worse than the original one, and the original one wasn't great. It just felt like everybody knew 100% Cena was beating Rock now, and that's where they went wrong. Like, it would have been more interesting had Rock lost to Cena in the first one, and then Rock won the title, because then when they went at it again, Cena's got a win over Rock, but now Rock's a champion. What the hell is going to happen? I don't know. But this was like, okay, well, Cena's going to get his win now, and that's it. Because that's the way their booking is. They can't have somebody look stronger than somebody else nowadays. It's, I beat you, and then we'll do the rematch, and you beat me, and nobody looks better, and it all just looks like bland bullshit. So Randy Orton, Batista, and Bryan, though, has one of my favorite moments in recent memory, because I teared up when Bryan won, because I remember I was really passionate about the bullshit that they were putting him through. Like they had a fucking license to print money, and they just flat out refused to take advantage of it until they had no choice. And I just felt really good for Bryan, so I'm gonna vote for that one.
I'm not gonna say you're wrong, but I think you may be a little blinded by that.
God, you are so full of shit.
But
so.
Lee,
Hey guys, Randy Orton had this intensity, I can't explain it, but Orton's better than Bryan because Bryan's stupid.
No, I never said that. I complimented Bryan so much.
That was a quote.
No. I'm just saying MVP was Orton in that match.
You complimented Bryan so much by talking about what a big, massive, dick-sucking halo Orton had over his head flying through this entire match. I don't know
Bryan played his part, but
I don't know what the fuck you were talking about, Bomber.
Yeah, no, he always looks like that.
You almost make me want to vote against you just on principle for that Orton bullshit comment, but I can't do that, of course, because this was, of course, a retread of Triple H HBK. It wasn't as good as that one, but it was still great. I agree with Matt Zion. I also had a little bit of wetness under my eyes seeing this shit because it was fucking fantastic. It's just really, really fucking sad that Bryan's body basically broke down right after this match, and his career was over shortly after this. But goddamn, what the fuck are you talking about with Randy Orton?
I don't know. It's just it's what I got from watching the match. I don't know.
This match went about 5 minutes too long. It should have been about 5-10 minutes of Orton and Batista dominating Bryan until he came back and just wiped them out for 5 fucking minutes straight and just fucked them up. It went a little too long, but it was still a really good match, and it was way better than Cena Rock 2, because Cena Rock 2 just it wasn't that good. It was decent, but no one, who cares? It's garbage, and I don't know what again, Randy Orton. What the fuck are you talking about? What are you saying, Aura?
Oh, he looks so intense.
I really wish I could have just.
Did you maybe have like the contrast on your TV set different?
I even watched this match because I cut it close watching all these matches. I watched this today once I got home from work. This is very fresh to me. I just watched this match today, and
eat a bad sandwich at lunch, or
I'm just man. I don't know how to describe it. It really, like, if you didn't go back and watch it, go back and watch it. Orton just has a different feel to him. But anyway, okay. We'll talk about it later because it advanced. So here we go.
Oh, we'll talk about this a lot. Well, I'm sure we'll bring up Orton feel in new episodes of Jobber Radio.
Here we go.
You're never living. Oh, what? No one can see it, but he wrote Orton MVP on our tracker. No listeners can see it, but that's there.
Yep. So anyway, we're gonna round out round 1 here. WrestleMania 31. We're talking Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, and I guess since it technically ended up being a triple threat, versus Seth Rollins, going up against WrestleMania 32 just last year, Triple H versus Roman Reigns. I think this one's a pretty easy one, but Matt Zion, let's let you kick it off here.
Yeah, Lesnar and Reigns is better. It's not a better match. Like, Triple H and Reigns is technically a better match overall, but Lesnar, like, people were so into this is like when Lesnar was really starting to get hot. So Lesnar, like, the fans wanted to see Lesnar kill Reigns. I was live for this one, and the people were just they wanted Reigns to die. They wanted This is the point where, because of the not, like, basically this should have been Lesnar and Bryan. Ironically enough, had they gone with Bryan and Lesnar, Bryan might still be wrestling right now, because the only reason that his current run stopped and his current career stopped is because of a brogue kick he took from Sheamus in a tag match that gave him a concussion, and then they got him tested, and that's when that came up. But he's fine as far as his weakness in his arms and stuff. That stuff's completely healed. Now it's just a concussion issue. So if they had went with the proper main event, which should have been David versus Goliath, Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan, he might still be going. He might still be wrestling as we speak. This match it's not good, though. I think Lesnar basically just kills Roman for 99% of it. Roman hits a couple Superman punches, a couple spears, and that's literally the match. Then Rollins runs down and he cashes in. That was basically the highlight, is Rollins cashing in and Lesnar creating the phrase "Suplex City, bitch." But other than that, it's not a great match. Like I said, it's more entertaining to watch, though, than Triple H and Reigns, because Triple H and Reigns, once again, continuing Triple H's matches mostly being garbage, other than his match with Benoit and Michaels. He's just terrible, man, and nobody wanted to see this match. Nobody was asking for Roman Reigns versus Triple H. It was just a flat dud. And what really makes me kind of worried about it is I've heard interviews with Roman, Triple H, and a couple other wrestlers where they talk really highly about this match, about how good it was. And I'm like, what the fuck were you watching? Because that match, they didn't even react. They weren't even booing Roman. I remember going into this match really excited. We were doing the predictions for this, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm down for this, because they're going to boo the shit out of Roman, and they're going to be behind Triple H, and it's going to be like a really rabid crowd. No, they didn't care. It's just, they're dead. They didn't fucking care at all. And we're going to keep getting Roman Reigns main events, because I'm predicting it right now. I think Triple H, or Undertaker and Roman's going to go on last, because I think it's Taker's last match. I think they're gonna say that he's retiring after this. So I think we're getting Roman for the next 10 years, and just main event after main event. So, but I'm going to go with Lesnar and Reigns.
All right, Lesnar Reigns, gotcha. Okay, I'll go next. By the way, if Roman did get a couple more main events, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Roman puts on great matches. I enjoy watching Roman Reigns.
I know, but both these weren't that great, though. So
I
maybe
agree
he can
with
turn it around.
half of that statement. I think WrestleMania 31 was a pretty good match as far as entertainment-wise. There wasn't a whole lot to it, but it was very, very, very entertaining, and I actually think it's one of the. I think it's going to be one of the underrated WrestleMania main events going down the road. Just going back and watching it, because I remember this on Jobber Radio a couple episodes back. Matt, you told me, you said, hey, you need to go back and watch that match because I was talking highly of it. You're like, no, go back and watch that match. You'll see that it wasn't that good. So obviously, I did go back and rewatch it, and I think it's just as good, if not better. I think it was a very good match. I stand behind it, behind my statement.
Did Lesnar have an aura or something you just can't quite explain?
Okay,
He looked
so
like he looked intense. I don't know though.
He looked out to the crowd for a moment there.
he actually did look.
You
did
said
have this
that,
aura.
Bomber. You said that.
I did, and I fucking stand by that statement too. Go back and watch the match. You'll fucking see it.
Well, we'll see how this is edited.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So yes, I'm gonna pick WrestleMania 31 over 32. I don't think the Triple H Reigns match was that bad. Obviously, the crowd was obviously for Triple H, even though he's the heel. Same kind of thing that happened with Cena and Triple H. They shit all over Cena. They shit all over Reigns. And believe it or not, that was 10 years ago from this match. 10 years with the Triple H Cena match. That's crazy to think about. But I don't know. I can't remember anything about it, and this was last year. So that's kind of sad. That's really sad to say. But I don't remember it being bad. Like, I don't know. The edge to me easily goes to WrestleMania 31. I liked it. I loved the moment, the cash in. I got fucking goosebumps again when Rollins' music hit. I felt it, man. It was good. Good shit. I don't care what anybody thinks. I liked it. So that's my pick. WrestleMania 31, Suplex City, the birth of Suplex City. How about Lee? How about you go for it?
Both of these were not terrible matches, but they're not great. This is just a perfect sort of display of how bad WWE booking has become, where they just are stubbornly failing to acknowledge what the fans actually want. They're just booking themselves into corners all the time. I have to go with Lesnar Reigns. It's just the more satisfying match overall. Triple H Reigns is just a little too slow and plodding for me. That being said, I still enjoy Lesnar suplex citying the fuck out of Cena much more. I mean, I enjoyed every one of those suplexes, just seeing Cena having his head broken up over the mat. But, yeah, it's like, man, everyone wants Reigns as a fucking heel, and they refuse to fucking do it. And this matchup should have never happened, at least not in this iteration. Like, when you think about it, they could have had Lesnar as their biggest fucking babyface.
I'm watching you, Bomber, off camera, highlighting and colorizing Orton MVP on our spreadsheet.
I'm sorry, Lee. I'm sorry to
I'm
distract.
trying to edit it, but I can't.
I'm sorry to distract.
You're a sick fuck, Bomber.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. All right,
but yeah, it's Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar. That's the
Brock
Japanese
Lesnar.
version. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns is the one. Even though the ending was a bunch of bullshit, but then again, they booked themselves into that corner. What else were they going to do? So I mean, you have to live with it, I guess. But that's the way to go. Triple H, Roman Reigns.
34.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Reigns, Triple H, it's there.
Just didn't do it for you?
It never should have happened. No halos over everyone's heads or any of that
It should
shit.
have been Triple H and Ambrose. I mean, that had the heat behind it.
Oh, that was a great fucking
but-
match.
Yeah, it should have been the main event. They could have built another star and had a guy who was on Roman's level, but instead they just put Roman into a match nobody remembers, and Ambrose kind of just faded away into nothingness for a while.
No, they made Ambrose the jokey guy who got killed by Lesnar.
Yeah.
So
I don't even want
what
to
the
talk
fuck
about
are
that.
you gonna do?
In a boring match with a lazy Lesnar, don't forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking pissed me off. But all right, there it is. To round out round one, WrestleMania 31.
Hey.
Oh,
hey.
sorry. Oh, sorry. Well, technically it's over, but go for it.
Yeah.
What's your pick?
Not that it changes anything. It is Lesnar Reigns. It should have been Lesnar Bryan, like you said, David and Goliath, but it became a story of, can Lesnar kill the guy that people want to see killed, and Reigns kept surviving. Unfortunately, it was the last good Lesnar match of that type because he became the Suplex Man after that, which kind of sucked for a while. Which it was entertaining of its own accord, but I miss those matches where he actually did things. The Triple H and Roman, it's like the Mania matches we have now, where it's a Mania match, sure, but it shouldn't be for the title. And that's what happened. Like the build-up was from like November or December that year. It's fine. It's a Mania match, cool, but it shouldn't be the main event. It shouldn't be a title match. It didn't belong there. Roman got his third title reign, which I remember reading they wanted to delay him even getting the title till Mania to make it a Mania moment, and just they're too much into crafting these things instead of letting them happen. And so
That's a good way to put it.
Lesnar wins. I don't care much for Rollins, so I mean him with Money in the Bank was an awesome thing that made sense in that regard, but
Okay.
but it's still better than Triple H and Roman.
All right, so there you have it. WrestleMania 31 advances Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. As you can see, things are getting a little long, so we're going to break this bad boy up into 3 different parts. I hope you enjoyed part 1. I hope you stick around to see how everything unfolds and see just how far Bam Bam Bigelow and Lawrence motherfucking Taylor end up going. All right, guys, see you on the next little part.